If you like the story, you can support the author on Patreon. Link is in the description.
Chapter 21. You are quite powerful, but you pretend to be weak. When Natsuo was younger, he thought that things like trade wars and power struggles were all kinds of intricate battles with a high level of wit, intelligence, style, and elegance. When experts clashed, there would be hidden currents, intricate connections, and it could be considered a war without gunpowder. But as he grew up, several news stories shattered his beautiful illusions. Competitors organizing their employees to post explicit images on a rival company's app and then reporting it themselves. Executives personally leading 30 strong men to directly seize official seals and tear up business licenses. Founders of publicly traded companies hire people to sneak over the wall to secretly film their competitors' embarrassing acts. Chairmen hiring people to break into rival companies' safes. Business wars in my imagination, battles of wits and conspiracies, attacks and counterattacks in the darkness. Business wars in the reality, fights on the street corners. The most high-end business wars often employ the simplest methods. And when it is transferred to the world of Naruto, the fights between great ninjas are the same. Ninja wars in my imagination, inciting public opinion to suppress the enemy, using political power to harm a village, using superior strategic deployment capabilities, using the enemy's force to attack those who oppose you. Ninja wars in the reality, immediately dispatching ninjas for assassination. As for the Uchihas, they never used any fancy methods. Direct attack was their style. However, at the same time, it was also the most effective method. And so, today, Natsuo had a smile on his face as he looked at jewelry on the street, seemingly planning to buy a few pieces as gifts for his wives. Several root ninjas slowly approached. They acted inconspicuously, as if they were ordinary customers strolling around. There were also honest vendors selling their wares, occasionally causing some arguments. But suddenly, Natsuo abruptly woke up and sensed that something was wrong. "Who are you? What do you want?" he exclaimed in shock and reached for his kunai. Attack! The root ninjas never thought they could hide until the end. After all, Natsuo was also a ninja. Even if he had fallen, his instincts remained, and they couldn't give him too many opportunities. They made a quick decision and attacked directly. In the next second, several kunai were shot out like a shower of stars. Earth release, Earth-style wall. Natsuo clapped his hands together and quickly formed hand seals. And a wall of earth blocked the kunai's attack. "Damn it! Who are you people? How dare you attack openly on the streets of Konoha?" he shouted, continuously retreating. At this moment, the surrounding pedestrians also reacted and instantly screamed in fear, running for their lives. In their eyes, there was also a hint of disbelief. This was Konoha. The strongest ninja village, Konoha. Even during several great ninja wars, Konoha village had never been attacked. Now, someone dared to commit violence openly in Konoha village? The root ninjas remained expressionless, completely ignoring everyone else. Their target was only Natsuo. Natsuo activated his Sharingan, fighting and retreating at the same time. Although the fight was brief, it was still evident how powerful the enemy was. 1 Jonin, 2 Takubutsu Jonin, 1 Elite Jonin. This is a complete Jonin team. What is the third Hokage doing? How could he allow ninjas of this level to walk into the village so openly? Without our Uchiha division of the Konoha police, can't the village even protect its own citizens anymore? He shouted angrily. But his actions did not hesitate as he continued to retreat. Chase! The leader of the Jonin team ordered without hesitation. Although this place was not the center of the village, it was still a bustling area. Konoha ninjas could arrive to support at any moment. Although Danzo had arranged the patrolling ninjas far away, creating a gap in defense, he couldn't control the passing ninjas. Time is running out. All kinds of ninjutsu are naturally thrown away without any cost. Boom! 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 Countless stalls were blasted into debris by ninjutsu. But Natsuo was still running around, alive and kicking. Just a chunin like Natsuo, actually able to dodge the attacks of myself and others with the sharp vision brought by the Sharingan and a bit of luck. Damn it, Uchiha is really troublesome. The Jonin team leader felt anxious in his heart. Time is indeed urgent. Sure enough. The more worried you are, the more likely problems will arise. Someone actually dares to make a move in the village. Do they think we Konoha shinobi are all dead? A loud roar, and a man dressed in a dark green bodysuit appeared. Might guy. The Jonin team leader's eyes twitched. This guy is an elite Jonin, and I'm no match for him. You go hold him back. Yes. A special Jonin received the order. Although Might Guy's reputation is slightly weaker than Kakashi's, sending a special Jonin to hold him back basically confirms the death of this special Jonin. But after all, Root is an organization that is determined to complete the mission, so no one's expression changed. The remaining three continued to chase Natsuo. Natsuo? Who are you people? Anko, dressed in a fishnet outfit, also stood up with a serious expression. The Jonin made a decisive decision. Ktar, you go hold her back. Anko's strength is not weak. Although she is not as strong as Might Guy, her ninjutsu taught by Orochimaru is quite troublesome. He left behind the weakest chunin in the team. But as they continued to chase, the nearby patrol team finally arrived. The Jonin team leader had to leave the last special Jonin to entangle the police ninja and chase after Natsuo alone. But after a few exchanges, the distance between them had already closed. Of course, Natsuo was also about to reach the Uchiha clan's residence. But you can't escape. The Jonin's eyes revealed a fierce look, about to make a move. Natsuo's voice was filled with fear. Kakuzu, save me. It's useless. With this distance, no one can save you. The Jonin was about to make a move. The next second, Natsuo suddenly turned around. The expression that should have been filled with fear was calmly terrifying. His chakras suddenly erupted. Taking a deep breath, he suddenly exhaled. Fire release, Great Fire Annihilation Arrow. The raging flames suddenly extended out. In almost an instant, the surroundings turned into a sea of fire. The air temperature rapidly rose, heat waves surged, and the red flames soared. The Jonin team leader was the first to bear the brunt. He rushed too fast, leaving no room for escape. So, in almost an instant, he was burned by the raging fire, directly engulfed. You! The Jonin only managed to shout in fear before immediately falling silent. In his eyes, there was a strong sense of doubt. You're clearly so strong, why did you pretend to be weak and run away until now? Chapter 22, The Uchiha security team was the most reliable. The flames burned fiercely on the battlefield, leaving no trace behind. The surrounding buildings were directly reduced to ashes under such violent flames. Natsuo slowly withdrew his hand, a hint of amusement in his eyes, and whispered, Danzo, did you really think I was so weak? After several system rewards, Natsuo had gained the strength to rival an elite Jonin. How could he not discover a few root ninjas? To kill him? Impossible. As for why he only took action now. Whoosh! Kakuzu stood up with a dissatisfied expression. You called me out just to see a corpse. He had thought he could make some extra money. No, thank you for protecting me, Mr. Kakuzu. Thanks to you, I was saved. Otherwise, I would have almost died at the hands of these assassins. Natsuo shook his head lightly and smiled. You truly exceeded my expectations, sir. Kakuzu frowned. He understood what Natsuo meant. This guy wanted to continue hiding and use him as a shield, but... Hey, I only protect your child. This is not within the agreed scope. To express my gratitude for saving my life, I have decided to give Mr. Kakuzu 1 million RY as a reward for your efforts. Kakuzu fell silent for 3 seconds. If I don't have to compensate for the buildings affected around here, then I can accept it. Thank you very much, Mr. Kakuzu. Natsuo smiled gently and slowly walked back to his residence. The women in the house heard the news and rushed over. Another reward had been received. Kakuzu felt sweeter than if he had eaten honey. But when he looked at the scene where almost the entire street had been destroyed by the flames, he couldn't help but take a deep look at Natsuo's back of him. No wonder this guy didn't let him protect him. Because he didn't need anyone's protection at all. Everyone had underestimated the head of the Uchiha clan. News spread quickly that a ninja had attempted to assassinate Uchiha Natsuo in broad daylight, and the enemy was ultimately killed by the bodyguard hired by the Uchiha clan. Upon hearing this news, Danzo furrowed his brows. He wasn't able to kill him. This shouldn't be possible. But after reading the detailed report about the incident, I understood. So many formidable ninjas have emerged. Uchiha Natsuo, you're really lucky. Natsuo was just a chunin. How could he survive in the midst of so many ninja assassinations? The reason, of course, was the interference of Might Guy and others. And then there was Kakuzu, who made his move at the end. If he had been a little later, he would have taken Natsuo's eyes, right? Kakuzu, the renowned bounty hunter in the black market, I never expected his strength to surpass his reputation. Compared to the calm Danzo. The third Hokage sprayed his tea all over. Damn it, Danzo, what the hell are you thinking? This matter is not difficult to investigate, and with Danzo's hasty actions, there are too many loopholes. Everyone is well aware of the fighting style of the root ninjas. And before he could blame Danzo, the major clans came angrily to his door. The third Hokage roared angrily in his heart, but he had to start dealing with the aftermath. This is Cloud Shinobi Village's attempt to steal on our Konoha's bloodline limit. The third Hokage's words were like gold and jade, directly defining the incident. Then, in the astonished gazes of the major clan leaders, he sent a diplomatic notice to Cloud Shinobi Village, demanding compensation. This was probably the most powerful speech by the third Hokage during his term, right? Of course, Cloud Shinobi Village would probably treat this notice as a joke. The leaders of the major clans would never believe such words, but Danzo's actions left no concrete evidence. Additionally, the root ninjas died, erasing anything that could link the incident to Danzo. Even the patrol ninjas who provided opportunities for assassination were thoroughly investigated. Without evidence, and with the protection of the Hokage, Danzo once again easily escaped. The ninjas of the major clans could only leave with suppressed anger. Danzo is a suitable tool. During the third Hokage's term, the power of the major clans was weakened to some extent. Without clear evidence, they were powerless to resist the Hokage. But the villagers of Konoha were furious. Konoha has been established for 59 years, and there has never been an enemy who could infiltrate the village. Even the Nine Tails incident 8 years ago was essentially an internal problem of Konoha. Now, someone openly assassinated our ninjas in broad daylight, in the middle of the bustling market. Is Konoha still the #1 village in the ninja world? The ninjas responsible for patrolling should just commit seppuku. Who can guarantee our safety? The people were furious. At this time, Natsuo went door to door with his wives, apologizing to the victims who had lost their homes in this battle. I'm sorry, it's all because of me. If it weren't for the assassination targeting me, you wouldn't have had to go through this. Uchiha Natsuo looked apologetic. No, this is all a conspiracy by enemy ninja villages. The victims expressed one after another, Lord Natsuo, you are innocent. Not to mention the cash compensation that far exceeded the value of the properties, Natsuo must be innocent. Natsuo apologized a few more times, and then joined the victims in cursing the influence of the external villages, feeling a sense of unity against a common enemy. Damn it! Our Konoha's patrol forces have become lazy. Natsuo cursed, when we Uchiha were in charge of the security team, Konoha never experienced such blatant assassinations. Hearing this, the victims also sighed, yes. It was when Uchiha were in charge of the security team that Konoha was the safest. Compared to the current bunch of useless people, Uchiha are reliable. Chapter 23, Bombing the Shimura Clan. Previously, the Uchihas may have resisted using any method other than a direct approach to deal with their problems due to their pride. Perhaps this type of mentality is one of the main reasons that led them to be in a situation of isolation and rejection within Konoha. Who knows? What Natsuo is clear about is that he still does not have enough strength to wipe out everything, and he cannot have a direct confrontation with Konoha's senior management. But that can't stop me from charging them a little interest. Then, under Natsuo's deliberate guidance, countless people in Konoha village suddenly began to miss the Uchiha clan. This is quite normal. Human beings are strange, they fight with the living and bring flowers for the dead. He turns away from the living and looks desperate when they die. He goes years without talking to a living person and apologizes and pays tributes when he dies. He criticizes, speaks badly, offends the living, but sanctifies him when he dies. When the Uchiha clan was alive, many Konoha shinobi resented them for their strict enforcement of the law. But after their deaths, everyone forgot about their harshness. And in the face of the current situation where Konoha village's security forces are unable to protect the safety of the people, they immediately remembered the benefits of the Uchiha. Although the Uchiha clan was arrogant, they never shirked their responsibilities. After being arranged by the second Hokage to become the security force, Konoha's public order immediately stabilized. All kinds of criminals were captured and imprisoned without mercy. They also patrolled diligently and sacrificed their lives to protect the safety of the people on critical occasions. The Uchiha clan has done this countless times. Even during the Great Ninja War, Konoha village's public order never had any problems. On the contrary, it was so peaceful that it didn't seem like they were at war with enemy countries. A situation like the current one where an attack by enemies affected a large area of the city, something like this has never happened before. The victims immediately remembered the good Uchiha. Although the Uchiha clan is arrogant, they are very reliable. Yes, I have never heard of the Uchiha clan retreating in the face of the enemy. Compared to before, the public order now is much worse. Yes, it would be so much better if the Uchiha were still here. It's a pity that such a reliable Uchiha clan was wiped out. Everyone began to reminisce, and then collectively criticized the current Konoha security forces. For a while, the entire Konoha village united in their anger. If a major war were to break out now, would Konoha village be bombed into the sky? Compared to the Uchiha, all of you are far inferior. Can you protect us? These public opinions made the third Hokage extremely worried. He had to severely punish the captain of the security force and also punish Danzo. Then he increased his efforts to appease the villagers, and the compensation for the victims was paid by Konoha. He even gave additional compensation. In front of many villagers, he boasted about the Uchiha, saying that the current security force was far inferior to the one managed by the Uchiha. The Uchiha were loyal and dedicated, and it was such a waste for the clan to be destroyed by a rogue ninja like Itachi. Anyway, the Uchiha are almost all dead now, so no matter how much honor the dead have, it doesn't matter. The third Hokage even promoted Natsuo to Genin, bypassing the usual procedures. Although the entire Konoha knew that Natsuo was only a nominal Genin and was actually a Chunin who was being chased by a Genin who tried to assassinate him, this move was to restore the reputation of the Uchiha clan. The reason why Natsuo had so many wives was partly due to the Uchiha's wealth and partly due to the Uchiha clan's reputation. Some talented female ninjas hesitated because of the previous negative reputation of the Uchiha clan. I have put a lot of effort into the Uchiha. Natsuo sighed. But I don't plan to endure this quietly, Danzo. That's right. Although there was no direct evidence, Natsuo had already guessed that Danzo was behind this. Would the Uchiha clan swallow their pride? Don't be ridiculous. Elder Danzo, the Uchiha we have now is no longer the security force that operates according to the system. The Uchiha who are not part of the security force don't need evidence to take action. Shimura Clan Headquarters. As a prominent clan in Konoha, the Shimura clan is not much inferior to the Sarutobi clan, who can directly produce a ninja force from their own family. The Uchiha clan back then was known as the largest clan in Konoha. All of this naturally couldn't have happened without someone's contribution. Danzo slowly walked into the room, his movements somewhat sluggish, like an ordinary old man. There were also some members of the Shimura clan inside the house, but when they saw the seemingly ordinary man enter, they all stopped chatting and lowered their heads in greeting. Although they enjoyed the benefits brought by this man, when faced with this old man, even if they were from the same clan, they were filled with fear. Danzo-sama, you've worked hard. A middle-aged ninja swallowed his saliva and took Danzo's clothes. Danzo nodded expressionlessly. Report today's information. Many members of the Shimura clan have joined Root. Of course, they naturally received special treatment and did not need to be subjected to the tongue curse seal. Uchiha Natsuo personally took his wives to visit the victims who were injured in the previous attack. In his words, there was a hint of, if Uchiha were still here, such things would never be allowed to happen. Because of that Uchiha brat, many people are reminiscing about the Uchiha clan and think that the current police force is rubbish. Third Hokage used this as an opportunity to punish the person in charge of the police force, depriving the ninja who neglected their duties that day of their rights, and ordered the promotion of Natsuo to Jainin. Root is also a member of the Anbu, and the Anbu has the responsibility of gathering intelligence. Danzo nodded slowly. Third Hokage taking advantage of this matter was completely within his expectations. But it was just some insignificant rights. He just didn't expect that Natsuo would dare to defend the Uchiha clan now. Humph, he truly is the only survivor of the Uchiha, so lucky. Danzo's voice carried a hint of coldness. Sasuke doesn't really count as a survivor because no one wants to harm him. But Natsuo is a true survivor, relying on luck to escape the massacre of his clan. It seems like the Uchiha needs a lesson. Of course, not now. Sarutobi Hiruzen is keeping a close eye on him, but there will be plenty of opportunities in the future. Suddenly, Danzo's expression changed, and he looked up at the roof. Who is it? Boom. The next second, a loud crashing sound. The wooden roof was smashed open by a wooden box the size of a suitcase and crashed to the ground. Who is it? Who threw that thing? Someone in the sky. The sudden attack made the Shimura clan somewhat panicked. But they were elite ninjas after all, and their reactions were very quick. Some rushed to the roof, some protected Danzo, and some cautiously approached the slightly broken wooden box, full of vigilance. Danzo suddenly frowned. Does this wooden box seem to be making some kind of sound? Sound? Everyone listened carefully. Sizzle. 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 Indeed, there was a strange sound coming from the box, a sound they had never heard before. But it felt somewhat familiar. Explosive tags. Danzo's face changed. The next second. Boom. Chapter 24, Brother Natsuo is carrying the burden for me. The next day. A piece of news spread throughout Konoha. The Shimura clan was attacked by unknown enemies with explosive tags, resulting in the death and injury of 2 Jainin and 5 Chunin. Elder Danzo was also injured. An elder of Konoha village, actually suffered an attack from enemies within the village? Damn the security team, you are far worse than the Uchiha clan. Now the third Hokage is truly angry. Previously, one could only say that the security team intentionally neglected their duties under Danzo's orders. But now it is clear that these guys are truly useless. Without hesitation, the third Hokage directly ordered the Konoha Anbu to take over. However, even the Anbu couldn't find any information. It's just too simple to throw a box. Just catch an eagle from the forest of death, control it with genjutsu, and have it fly to Danzo's side to drop the box. If the timing of the explosion is controlled well, there is no need for any ninja to show up, making it impossible to trace. Go and investigate the origin of the explosive tags. The third Hokage angrily said. With so many explosive tags used in this bombing, I refuse to believe that we can't find out who did it. The entire intelligence department of Konoha went into action. But still no results. It would be strange if they could find out. Natsuo thought to himself. Because what I used was not explosive tags, but gunpowder. In the Naruto world, the development is quite strange. Although there are electric lights and movies, also in there will be various magical chakra weapons in the future. But there is no gunpowder. Even when opening mines, they use precious explosive tags. As a typical example of having mines at home, Natsuo simply gathered a large amount of gunpowder from the byproducts of some minerals. He stored some of this gunpowder and the rest of the gunpowder he set up as traps. This can be considered as Natsuo's backup plan to avoid being attacked in Konoha and killing his enemies. As an experienced warrior, Danzo initially did not notice the problem with the wooden box because the sound of the gunpowder fuse burning was different from the sound of the explosive tags being ignited. But no matter what, the incompetence of the Konoha security team has been known to everyone. The people of Konoha village are even more angry, considering this incompetent security team to be a disgrace to Konoha. They brought up the performance of the Uchiha clan from years ago to make comparisons and criticized these mediocre individuals. At the same time, they reminisced about the management of the Uchiha clan back then. For a while, nostalgia for the Uchihas became a daily topic among the people of Konoha village. This matter is getting bigger and bigger. Shimura Danzo and Sarutobi Hiruzen did not suspect that this was Natsuo's revenge. After all, Natsuo was just a small chunin who was recently promoted to Jonin for political reasons. How could he possibly do such a thing? After Uchiha Natsuo was attacked by Danzo, it is only right for the grieving Uchiha clan to issue a warning. The Uchiha clan instinctively fought back, propagating the goodness of the Uchiha clan from the past, upholding the reputation of the Uchiha clan, and undermining the authority of Danzo and the third Hokage. The controversy grew larger and larger. Even the students at the ninja school understood. Sasuke, I didn't expect the Uchiha clan to be so powerful before. Little Sakura exclaimed, without you, the public security in Konoha has declined significantly. The Uchiha clan is indeed powerful, it's Sasuke's family. Ino proudly raised her head, if it weren't for a traitor, Konoha wouldn't have to worry about public security at all. Sasuke heard this and felt a bit uncomfortable. In the end, the Uchiha clan was annihilated, leaving only him and Natsuo. Whether those babies can grow up to become outstanding Uchihas is still uncertain. But amidst the discomfort, there was also some happiness. Of course, we Uchihas are the strongest. He proudly raised his head, in the future, I will restore the glory of the Uchiha clan and truly revive the Uchiha clan. Little Sakura and the other girls immediately applauded and nodded vigorously. They weren't stupid, they knew they had to please Sasuke in order to secure a girlfriend position. However, they were still young, and as they spoke, they somehow veered into the topic they cared most about. Sasuke, didn't Natsuo say that in order to revive the Uchiha clan, you must have a wife? What do you think of me? You go away, I am the strongest kunoichi in the ninja school, I am the most compatible with Sasuke. No. What the Uchiha clan needs is a wife who can take care of children, and I am the best at taking care of children. I even helped my aunt's little brother change diapers. Can you do that? The girls started chattering and arguing. On the other hand, little Sakura spoke with a heavy heart, Sasuke, I heard that your brother married several wives. You must not become a womanizer like him. He's not a good person, who would marry so many people normally. I heard he gave up the honor of being a ninja and became obsessed with dating girls. Sasuke, you must not be like him. When Sasuke heard little Sakura's words, he, who had almost ignored the girls around him, suddenly became furious. "Little Sakura, what do you know?" Sasuke said angrily, "You don't know at all how much Natsuo sacrificed so that I could train without having to worry about the affairs of the Uchiha clan, so that one day I can restore the glory of the Uchihas with my own hands. Do you know that I saw him fight hard until dawn every day with barely any sleep? Do you know that Natsuo endured the ridicule of other ninja from different clans, but still had to insist on marrying and having wives, and had to get along with a large group of women, living a life he didn't want? Do you know that this year, the Uchiha clan has grown from 2 members to 17, all thanks to Natsuo's efforts?" Thinking about the group of chattering girls around him, Sasuke couldn't help but feel annoyed. He couldn't even imagine what it would be like if Natsuo wasn't there, and he had to live with a group of girls in order to revive the Uchiha clan. What kind of annoyance would that be? It would feel like death. Sasuke glared at little Sakura. "Little Sakura, do you know that the reason I can have a peaceful time at the ninja school is all because Natsuo carried the burden for me? What right do you have to say such things about him?" Chapter 25, Teach me how to pick up girls. Sasuke glared angrily at little Sakura. In the past, whenever he faced little Sakura, he would either be impatient or ignore her, rarely showing any other attitude. But this time, it was the first time Sasuke's attitude had changed. However, if possible, little Sakura definitely did not want this kind of change. She stood there dumbfounded, tears welling up in her eyes, on the verge of crying. But she choked back her tears in Sasuke's roar. The atmosphere at the school gate was extremely tense. Some people wanted to persuade them, but they were silenced by Sasuke's killing intent. He was truly angry. And at this moment, "Sasuke, I'm glad you can think of me like that. It's good that someone recognizes my efforts," a voice with a hint of laughter sounded. Natsuo walked over with a smile, gently rubbing Sasuke's head. "But when it comes to dealing with girls, it's better to be magnanimous. Men shouldn't take things so seriously." Then he looked at little Sakura and smiled gently. "It's all right, as you said, I'm not really a good person after all. After all, bad boys attract girls, don't they?" Humph. Sasuke tried to maintain his cool guy image. But obviously, with his face being rubbed and distorted, he couldn't display any killing intent. The atmosphere immediately eased, and everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Little Sakura lowered her head even more. "I'm sorry, big brother Natsuo. I shouldn't have talked behind your back." She just didn't want to see Sasuke become a playboy, and it wasn't that she had any dissatisfaction with Natsuo. "It's all right." Natsuo smiled slightly. "Besides, I think you're a good girl, little Sakura. You can point out the problems of the person you care about directly, regardless of whether it will affect your relationship. Sincerity, not hypocrisy. That's a good quality. I just don't want to see Sasuke being a playboy. I didn't think so much about it. But big brother Natsuo, you're a good person." Little Sakura suddenly developed some good feelings towards this handsome big brother. I really didn't expect to receive a good person card from a girl your age." Natsuo self-mockingly smiled. "At least wait until you're a bit older to give it to me." Pfft. Naruto, Shikamaru, and others couldn't help but burst into laughter. Sasuke's brother was quite interesting. Hinata next to them couldn't help but take a few more glances at Natsuo. And with one glance, she was stunned. Then she looked carefully. Her pure white eyes gradually brightened, becoming more and more radiant, exuding an extraordinary brilliance. "This big brother, it seems like he saved me before." On the other side, Natsuo was also eloquent, making the girls laugh and smile. They were just a few little girls. Even if they were precocious, could they compare to adults? Natsuo was a man who had been through countless battles, able to maintain harmony in his harem. He could make adults feel happy and obediently assume various poses, let alone a few little girls? Naruto looked on in astonishment. This big brother Natsuo, he's really good at talking. Naruto was shocked. Both little Sakura and Ino are laughing so happily. Sasuke looked at Natsuo and the girls, lost in thought. Big brother Natsuo, why are you here? Sasuke asked. I came to pick you up and take you home, Natsuo sighed lightly, spreading his hands, it's the responsibility of your guardian. With this attack, Natsuo caused a lot of trouble for the third Hokage, gained face for the Uchiha clan, and also gained some rewards, but he also had to deal with more trouble himself. According to Yukino's words, Natsuo, you and Sasuke are the hope of the Uchiha clan. Now that someone dares to attack you, who knows if they will also target Sasuke. So, Natsuo had to pick up and bring Sasuke home during this period of time. Although he understood the deterrence of attacking, Danzo still didn't dare to easily lay a hand on Sasuke. He also understood that the third Hokage had long arranged for the Anbu to protect Sasuke at all times, ensuring his safety before he became a ninja. But he still had to fulfill the responsibilities of a parent. It was just like the parents who immediately started picking up their children after a fight broke out at the school gate in his previous life. "Tch, I can go home alone," Sasuke muttered a few times, but in the end, he still went home with Natsuo. In the following days, Natsuo continued to pick up Sasuke after school. Sasuke also kept complaining. "Natsuo, I can go home by myself. I'm a ninja from the Uchiha clan. What ninja from any family needs to be picked up? This is simply tarnishing the reputation of our Uchiha clan." He expressed great dissatisfaction with this. It made him look like a little child who had just started school, according to the customs of the ninja clan, except for the first year of the ninja school, they really wouldn't pick up and drop off their children. Anyway, Konoha's public security was good, and ninja students were still ninjas. It was impossible for them to be pampered like Natsuo in his previous life. Sasuke, this proud little guy, naturally found it even more uncomfortable. In the end, under Sasuke's resistance, Natsuo kept a distance from him, acting as a guardian, while Sasuke walked ahead, with the standard of not going out of Natsuo's line of sight. Conducting a kind of long-distance pick-up and drop-off. You look even more like a child pretending to be an adult, Natsuo thought to himself. To show off his maturity and not let adults pick him up, isn't this more childish? Well, whatever, it's up to him. After all, I'm just going through the motions. Suddenly, a small hand quietly pulled Natsuo's sleeve. Big brother Natsuo. Do you recognize me? I'm Naruto, Sasuke's classmate. Naruto, with his light yellow hair, looked around sneakily. Oh, Naruto, I know, Natsuo smiled slightly, I may have known about you earlier than you think. But Naruto thought that Sasuke had secretly told Natsuo about him at home. He thought that Sasuke, that guy, seemed cold and arrogant, but it was all just an act. But that's a small matter. Suddenly, Naruto became serious and bowed deeply to Natsuo. Big brother Natsuo, teach me how to pick up girls. Please. Chapter 26, Quantity or Quality? I want both. Big brother Natsuo, teach me how to pick up girls. Please, I beg you. Naruto was extremely envious. He had never seen such a situation where a man was surrounded by women and could make them all happy. The key was that the quality of these girls was also extremely high. Naruto had once caught a glimpse of Natsuo taking the girls shopping and his wife's appearance was excellent. It made Naruto jealous to even mention it. Well, if you want to learn this from me, it's fine, Natsuo said indifferently. Speaking of which, as someone who aspired to revive the Uchiha clan, Natsuo didn't seem to actively pursue girls. It was always the girls who came to him. But it didn't matter. It was still possible to fool Naruto. That's great. Naruto happily jumped 3 feet high. He was as happy as an 8-year-old child. His requirements weren't high. If he could learn a thing or two and pick up Sakura, that would be enough. Natsuo glanced indifferently at Sasuke, who was about to disappear. He had nothing better to do anyway. Let's go, we can talk while walking. To become a Poseidon, the most important thing is to cast a wide net. There's a saying that goes, cast a wide net, catch many fish, and select the best. If really want to live a Poseidon's life, first, you need to find enough potential targets, and then focus on selecting. In this stage, the most important thing is to be especially good to everyone. Natsuo continued, after selecting enough targets, we need to create a harmless image. There's an old saying that goes, the most advanced hunter often appears in the form of prey. As Naruto listened, he became hesitant and fidgety. Big brother Natsuo, is this really okay? After all, he was still just a child, and he felt a little embarrassed. What are you feeling guilty about? Natsuo shook his head and said impatiently, as a Poseidon, from now on, you can only be physically weak, not mentally weak, cough, cough. Or do you want to win one person's heart and never part until old age? That's also possible. Which style do you want to go for? Naruto's face turned a little red. Winning a person's heart is naturally good, but the life of a Poseidon hugging one wife on the left and another on the right also seemed. After hesitating for a while, Naruto finally said, Big brother Natsuo, can I learn both? Adults make choices, but children like Naruto want to learn everything. Offspring +1, the comprehensive potential evaluation is 41, you gain chakra +2, fire release, great fireball technique. Offspring +1, the comprehensive potential evaluation is 47, you gain mental power +2, demonic illusion, tree binding death. Offspring +1, the comprehensive potential evaluation is 52, you gain chakra +3. The Uchiha residence has become even more lively with the recent birth of babies. Sasuke is so happy that he seems to be walking on air. With such a large population, the revival of the Uchiha clan is within reach. Natsuo also has a smile on his face, as his own strength has increased. However, among this batch of wives who gave birth, there is no female ninja as talented as Uzumaki Ijao. They are relatively average. Uzumaki Ijao's child is still the most talented baby at the moment, bringing Natsuo the greatest reward. Carefully examining the potential of each baby, Natsuo couldn't help but approach Uzumaki Ijao and spend some quality time with her. Uzumaki Ijao didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and said, Natsuo, what are you doing? I'm pregnant again and I can't accompany you. Hey, stop. Be careful, you might hurt the baby. Now there are more and more babies being born, providing a rich sample. Natsuo can already roughly determine that the talents of both parents directly influence the potential of their children. In the ninja world, bloodline inheritance is a source of power. Of course, this is a relative issue. It can only be said that if the parents are strong, there is a high probability that the child will have high potential. It does not mean that if the parents are amazing, the child will definitely be extraordinary. However, this also led Natsuo to make a decision. In the future, when recruiting, we should consider stricter assessments. Quality may be more important than quantity. Or perhaps, as the number of female ninjas he accepts increases, it has become a situation of many phoenixes vying for the single dragon. Beauty brings suffering, handsomeness brings exhaustion. Natsuo's energy is not infinite. At a certain point, quantity can no longer keep up with quality. Perhaps he should make a choice? No, I can't give up on quantity either. Natsuo felt excited in his heart. Maybe I should start working hard to train my body, or learn medical ninjutsu, scientifically regulate daily exercise, delay time, increase ammunition, and ultimately be able to fight against many opponents. We can't give up on quality either. It's not just about finding high-quality women. Perhaps we can also let our wives and concubines train more. With training, they might even reach the level of Chunin or Jainin. If the wives improve their strength, the children they give birth to will naturally become much stronger. We must do both. We must be strong in both aspects. However, kunoichis are different from male ninjas. If he wants to become stronger, it would be best to learn from female experts who are also female ninjas. Natsuo decided to invest a lot of money in acquiring data of powerful kunoichis, such as body growth data, strength improvement curves, ninjutsu training templates, to research a path that will allow his wives to progress rapidly. There are many targets, such as Tsunade, Nii Ujito, and even the deceased Pakura. They can all serve as learning materials. This task was publicly announced, and even Kakuzu, who usually goes to great lengths to collect information on ninjas, accepted it. However, unlike normal ninjas who put in effort to gather information on female ninjas, Kakuzu took a different approach. He contacted Konan for a business discussion. Konan, let's exchange some information about a business I have. Chapter 27, hit the target with a single shot. A few days later, Natsuo suddenly realized that the dedicated Kakuzu had disappeared. A representative from Akatsuki suddenly appeared and solemnly stated that Kakuzu had fallen ill and needed some time to recuperate. Of course, we will definitely complete the mission you entrusted to us. As a result, the bodyguard was replaced by a mature woman with short purple hair and a dignified and virtuous demeanor. Yes, it was Konan. What illness does Kakuzu have? Natsuo paused for a moment before asking. Epilepsy, I have already treated him. Konan's voice carried a hint of coldness. Don't worry, he will recover in a few days. During this time, I will transform into Kakuzu and protect the safety of your Uchiha clan. Natsuo. He seemed to have never heard that Konan had any medical ninjutsu. Or perhaps the best at healing in Akatsuki was Kakuzu, who was currently lying in a hospital bed with excellent suturing techniques. But it's fine. Although the old man can be relied upon when it comes to money, there's nothing wrong with having an attractive woman around. Then I'll trouble you. Natsuo smiled slightly, his smile very sunny and bright. No trouble at all, I should say this is our mistake. Konan nodded calmly. Her voice was slightly cold, and her eyes carried a hint of resentment. Natsuo didn't mind, perhaps it was similar to Yakurane. Women like her, who lack nothing and are excellent, generally can't stand men who indulge in debauchery and have multiple partners. It's not a big deal, no need to worry about it. He chatted with this beautiful bodyguard for a while, then went about his own business. Konan watched Natsuo's figure as he walked away and sighed softly. He's quite handsome, but why does he always make strange requests? The key is that he gives so much money, which makes that damn Kakuzu always target me. Yes, Konan's resentful gaze was not directed at Natsuo, but at a certain elder in Akatsuki. To be honest, if Kakuzu wasn't also working for the organization and had a good work attitude, she really wanted to just kill that old man. This has happened several times. And what's with the growth curve of female ninjas, body measurements? It even includes bust, waist, and hip measurements. Kakuzu, oh Kakuzu, you really dare to ask for any kind of information. The more Konan thought about it, the angrier she became. She got up and walked towards Kakuzu's room behind her, planning to beat up this old man wrapped in bandages to vent her anger. Yes, the injuries Kakuzu currently had were also caused by her beating him up. The information on female ninjas is still being collected, but that's not urgent for now. Natsuo still had the medical ninjas from Konoha arrange a daily exercise schedule for him, as well as exercise schedules for his wives, although they were not specifically designed, they were sufficient for the time being. At the same time, he also started to seriously study medical knowledge. Natsuo could see clearly that although Konoha Hospital was already the most powerful medical facility in the ninja world, it had only been established for a few decades and technology and theory were still in a developmental stage. Without Tsunade overseeing Konoha Hospital, it was just an ordinary hospital. It was better to study on his own and conduct targeted research. First, I'll use the current exercise schedule as a goal, and in the future, I can research some body strengthening serums. Natsuo thought to himself. Things like Hashirama's cells, Jago's cells, and cursed seals. These might be useful for body strengthening serums. For this reason, Natsuo even hired a medical genin to teach him. Medical ninjutsu is something for the future. In order to once again obtain high-quality women from Konoha, Natsuo not only cleared the Uchiha clan's reputation, but also increased the rewards. The rewards for Chunin-level missions remained the same. For Jonin-level kunoichis, ninjutsu scroll rewards remain the same, while the monetary rewards increased to 100 million RY, equivalent to the rewards of 3 Asumas. A direct doubling. The rewards for cage-level female ninjas were even more exaggerated. 1 billion RY bounty, 2 S-rank ninjutsu scrolls, almost enough to make someone rich and powerful. This generous offer shook the entire Konoha. Kakuzu, who was lying in bed, struggled to sit up, his eyes flashing with the words "Take a gamble and it's just life, I don't want it." Then he was slapped back onto the bed by Konan. "Don't think I don't know what you're thinking." Konan, no longer the dignified woman, glared at Kakuzu with a face full of anger and embarrassment. "If you dare to say to me, why don't you help Natsuo have a child and we split the reward, I'll kill you first." In short, everyone who learned about this mission's rewards widened their eyes turning red, panting heavily, and being stimulated to the extreme. And as the instigator, Natsuo faced another problem. He looked at Yi Kurane sitting in front of him with a strange expression. Is it really this accurate, to hit the mark with just one shot? That's right. Yi Kurane is pregnant. Chapter 28, Yi Kurane moves in with the Uchiha clan. A moment of passion was enough for an accident to occur. Yi Kurane never expected this to happen, even though she was indeed in a dangerous period that day, and they were both drunk and didn't take any precautions. But this is too accurate. Although Naruto World also has contraceptives, Yi Kurane hesitated to purchase them due to being emotionally unstable at the time. In theory, if she had taken some medicine at that time, this problem wouldn't have occurred. But as a virtuous woman, how could Yi Kurane bring herself to buy such medicine? Moreover, her mind was filled with questions like, did I really lose my virginity like this? And why did it turn out like this? In the end, she hesitated for a while, and well, the effective time for taking contraceptives had passed. But since they were both drunk and it was just one time, there shouldn't be a big problem. So Yi Kurane didn't pay much attention to this matter. What she cared more about was how she lost her chastity and why she drank so much at that time. After half a month, her period still hadn't come. Well, that's normal. It's not like it follows a strict schedule. It's normal for it to be a few days late. And then another half a month passed. When Ui Red felt nauseous and sick while brushing her teeth, she started to panic. She secretly bought a testing kit and took a careful look. Damn, it's really positive. Why did it turn out like this? Yi Kurane was left speechless. It was just one time, how did it end up like this? Cough cough, Yi Kurane, calm down. Natsuo coughed. The situation has come to this point, we should face it properly. You dare to say that? Yi Kurane, with red eyes, pounced on him with teeth and claws. If it weren't for you, how could this have happened? It's all your fault. It's all because of you. What am I supposed to do now? She clawed and bit Natsuo, completely abandoning her usual elegant and mature demeanor. Natsuo's mouth twitched. If I remember correctly, it was you who dragged me and forced. But saying such things now would easily get me killed. Natsuo could only cough and, ignoring Yi Kurane's attacks, hugged her and said, "Don't worry, I'll take responsibility. Today, I will go and propose to the Yi clan for you. I don't need your proposal." Yi Kurane, upon hearing this, suddenly became angry. "I don't care about you. Marriage?" Yi Kurane and Natsuo weren't even at the stage of discussing marriage. One could even say that Yi Kurane didn't have any feelings for Natsuo. After all, as an independent woman, how could she like someone who had a harem? Although compared to Asuma, she felt that Natsuo respected women more. But she didn't want to devote herself to Natsuo. "Then what do you want to do?" Natsuo helplessly spread his hands. "Abort it. You dare!" Yi Kurane became even angrier and reached out to hit him. Marry Natsuo? She didn't want to. Abort the child? That's a small life. And it's her own life inside her belly. How could she bring herself to do it? Neither option was feasible. After angrily beating up the scumbag for 10 minutes, Yi Kurane finally made a decision out of helplessness. The child must be born. But she still wouldn't marry. She also didn't want the label of unwed mother. So, after discussing it, they decided that Natsuo would hire Yi Kurane as a teacher for a year under the identity of an illusionary arts teacher. And when it was time to give birth, Natsuo would secretly find a skilled medical ninja to deliver the baby. This medical ninja would be hired on a lifelong basis and would have to sign a confidentiality agreement. As for the child, after Yi Kurane went on a mission once, she would raise the child herself, using the excuse of finding an abandoned child. By the way, although this pregnancy was an accident, Natsuo also proposed to give him a reward. However, Yi Kurane would never accept such money. "If I accept this money, what's the difference between me and those money-seeking women?" Yi Kurane said angrily. "I can raise the child on my own without your money." But afterwards, she thought again. To have a child for him, raise the child by myself, and take care of the child in the future, while he can freely play with other women. Why does it feel like I've been abandoned? Yi Kurane didn't know how to feel. In fact, it's also possible to leave the child with the Uchiha clan. "I have many children here, and you can come to see the child anytime," Natsuo coughed and suggested again. Then he was beaten up by Yi Kurane again. "This is my child, how can I give it to someone else?" Lately, Miss Yi Kurane seems a bit irritable. Where is the gentle and elegant goddess? But to sum it up, Yi Kurane, in the end, moved in with the Uchiha. In this wave, Natsuo felt like he won. That's Yi Kurane, with her talent and strength, she is at the top among the ninja women I married. What kind of talented child will she give birth to? Natsuo was filled with anticipation. Chapter 29, These are all the achievements of the third Hokage. The Uchiha clan's hiring of Konoha's illusion master, Yi Kurane, did not cause much trouble. After all, not long ago, the Uchiha clan hired several medical teachers, and everyone thought that Natsuo also wanted to make some effort. Although the Uchiha clan's inherited illusion techniques are strong, there are only Natsuo and Sasuke, who have no experience in illusions at all. Yi Kurane is also one of Konoha's top illusion masters, so she has something to offer in teaching the Uchiha. On the other hand, Asuma was angry for a long time. He approached Yi Kurane, hoping that she would turn down the position, but instead, he received a scolding from her. "Is it your business to meddle in my affairs?" With this sentence, their conversation ended. Then Yi Kurane moved directly into the Uchiha residence. In the following period, she gradually reduced her outings, allowing the villagers and ninjas to gradually overlook her. Otherwise, if her belly grows too big and is seen by others, it will be hard to hide. Of course, before that, she needs to meet with her friends a few more times. So, while he can still meet people, he grabbed Mitarashi Anko and went to eat dumplings. "I didn't expect you to become an illusion teacher." Anko happily ate the meatballs with narrowed eyes. Now your reputation has become prominent. To teach Uchiha, who is recognized as the strongest in illusions. You are now well recognized as the strongest illusion ninja in Konoha. It's not as exaggerated as you say. Yi Kurane smiled wryly. There are still many powerful illusion ninjas. But Anko didn't believe it. Then why did Natsuo hire you as a teacher? He must think your illusions are the strongest. This is the Uchiha clan's recognition of your strength, something that can be shown anywhere. That's because I accidentally got pregnant with his child. Yi Kurane couldn't say this out loud, but there was a hint of sweetness in her heart. The Uchiha clan's recognition can be big or small, but no matter what, it is a way to damage the Uchiha's honor and increase her own reputation. Natsuo's choice was the most appropriate and the most dignified way to help her conceal her pregnancy. He can be considered a responsible and good man. But it's a pity that he is too fickle and insists on finding so many girls. Yi Kurane thought to herself, otherwise, maybe we could still. Anko didn't think so much. She just said with regret, it's a pity I don't know any illusions, otherwise, I would also want to go. Are you still short of money? Yi Kurane curiously asked. Of course. Anko sighed, although the snakes in Rika Cave are powerful, the cost of raising them is not small. She uses Orochimaru's secret technique to summon and fight with snakes. For this, she needs to maintain a good relationship with Rika Cave and uphold the contract. While summoning jutsu seems to require no effort, in reality, while the summoned beast helps the summoner also needs to provide for the consumption of the summoned beast, such as a large amount of food. Even Orochimaru needs to pay for the appearance of the 10,000 snakes. A mere Anko would have to pay an even greater price to maintain the relationship. Only those with substantial resources can afford it. Otherwise, this useful ninjutsu would have been used by many people. Yi Kurane naturally understood the reason behind this. However, although she has some wealth, the contract with Rika Cave is not a one-time deal. With long-term consumption, she cannot afford to subsidize Anko. Anko also cannot ask her best friend for help. This is beyond the scope of normal friendship. Speaking of the Uchiha, Natsuo's reward for seeking a child has increased again. Anko sighed lightly. Sometimes I can't help but think about selling myself to get some money to raise the snakes. All my ninjutsu relies on snakes. Without money to raise them, my strength won't improve. This way, I don't know when I'll be able to seek revenge. Yi Kurane had a peculiar expression, with a hint of complexity in her eyes. Anko had been abandoned by Orochimaru when she trusted him the most. She had thought about seeking revenge against Orochimaru more than once, but she knew that her strength was insufficient, and she couldn't do anything about it. Now, she was being marginalized by Konoha and was in desperate need of money. If she were to sell herself, it wouldn't surprise Yi Kurane. But she had already given herself to Natsuo. If her best friend did the same, what does this mean? Are they in the same boat? I hope it doesn't come to this. In reality, compared to the small matter of hiring Yi Kurane as a genjutsu teacher, it was the increase in rewards for the high-paying mission of conceiving a child that truly shook Konoha. Especially the reward for cage-level female ninjas, it was outrageously exaggerated. It was said that Raza, the Kazekage next door who had almost gone crazy from poverty, started regretting killing Pakura when he saw this. If Pakura were still alive, he could have fathered a child and taken on this mission. The reaction in Konoha was also immense. For example, the third Hokage suddenly discovered that the number of female ninjas applying to become Genin had increased tenfold compared to the previous year. They seemed to have suddenly developed unprecedented ambition, each one training seriously and working hard in Konoha's training fields even at 3 in the morning. At first, the third Hokage was very happy to see this, feeling a great sense of accomplishment. These are all my achievements as the third Hokage. If it weren't for his leadership and lack of discrimination against women, creating a harmonious working environment for female ninjas, how could the number of female ninjas applying to become Genin have increased so much? So, the third Hokage specifically ordered a report on the proportion of female ninjas among Genin in the past 10 years and held a presentation. The third Hokage stated that under his leadership, the outdated tradition of women leaving their jobs after getting married in Konoha village had long been surpassed. The new era of female ninjas had the same spirit of daring to fight and striving for progress as male ninjas. The expressions of the people listening to the presentation were strange. After hearing this news, Danzo even ordered Root to actively spread the great achievements of the third Hokage and work hard to spread his reputation. Sarutobi Hiruzen listened with great satisfaction, thinking that Danzo finally stopped eyeing the Hokage position under his buttocks and planned to be a loyal Root member who would never surface. He was so happy that he ignored the opposition of the shinobi and granted Danzo many powers. But a few days later, he overheard the newly applied female ninjas chatting privately. "Ah, the assessment is so difficult. Yeah, I think I'm going to fail again this time. At this rate, when will I become a Genin and marry into the Uchiha clan to become a wealthy lady? Hehe, I'm not as vulgar as you guys. If I become a Genin, I'll work hard in the Uchiha clan for a few years, then I can live my whole life without working, enjoying a carefree life with a large amount of wealth." The female ninjas chattered, longing for a future where they would have children and receive the generous bonuses from the Uchiha clan. Not far away, the third Hokage. Chapter 30, The First Wife Genin. Because of this, the third Hokage felt like dying. No wonder that guy Danzo suddenly started spreading my achievements. It turns out that he already knew about the increase in the reward amount posted by the Uchiha clan. The third Hokage felt like a slap had been harshly slapped on his face. He felt both embarrassed and angry, a surge of anger rising in his heart. But at this point, Sarutobi Hiruzen had no good solution. In the end, he could only make a mental note to remember Danzo's actions, suppress the third Hokage's achievements report meeting, and hope that time would make people slowly forget. On the other hand, Natsuo was much happier. "Are you sure you want to accept this mission?" Natsuo asked. "Yes, I'm sure." The slender kunoichi sitting across from him sighed lightly, "But I hope that you, Uchiha, can keep it completely confidential and give me some privacy." This relatively unknown female ninja in the Naruto series, named Misaki, is the first Genin willing to accept the childbearing mission so far. It should be noted that, except for special cases like Natsuo, any Genin is a strong individual who has advanced across the battlefield. They have experienced countless bloody battles, have rich experience in mission execution, and even hold high positions in the village. Even the selection of the Hokage requires a Genin meeting to be convened for voting. Such people may not necessarily accept the childbearing mission for some money. But Misaki is different. She is a kunoichi from a small fallen family. The strongest combat power in the entire clan is this Genin. Now her ninja clan has fallen into a sorry state. Due to her bad luck, she has encountered strong enemies several times during missions, resulting in heavy losses for her family. Now his family doesn't even have a Genin, and there is a huge gap between high-level combat power and the rest of the clan. To support the family, a large amount of money must be invested in the next generation of the family and encouraged to advance in their training as soon as possible. This strongest female ninja in the family has to put aside her pride and accept the resources of the Uchiha clan. She is currently the first female ninja who is not marrying into the Uchiha clan and is solely focused on giving birth to a child. Although she signed a contract for a relatively large amount to have a child, the agreement was signed for double the amount. Misaki seemed to have finally let go of the weight in her heart and smiled bitterly. "It is fortunate that you have now also advanced towards Genin, otherwise I would not have been able to let go of my pride and accept this task." The ninja world is a typical male-dominated world, with a very high proportion of strong male individuals. If a female ninja marries someone who is much weaker than her, it will cause a lot of gossip and be looked down upon. Natsuo knew this, but still chose to hide his strength. When facing Root's assassination, he easily defeated the assassins because he pretended to be weak, and they miscalculated his strength. The reason was to relax the surveillance on the Uchiha clan by Konoha's senior management, and also obtain some benefits from the third Hokage. Although there are more and more children being born and Natsuo is quickly becoming stronger. Even if Konoha were to make a move against him, he could still escape from Konoha. But it is obvious that he would lose the peaceful environment of Konoha as a place to find a wife. Compared to the psychological barriers of female ninjas, the environment of Konoha village for finding a wife is more important. Anyway, Tsunade, the only cage-level female ninja in Konoha village, is not there, and the highest quality female ninjas in Konoha are only Jonin at best. So, he doesn't care about the resistance from these women. For Natsuo, Konoha village is still the best place to find a large number of potential wives. Besides, where there is a first, there is a second. There are also many Jonin women from fallen families in Konoha. The popularity of the task to have a child continues to increase. Even the properties around the Uchiha clan residence have quickly appreciated in value. Female ninjas want to live close to the Uchiha clan and see if they can have a chance encounter. They are not stupid. Although everyone is officially considered Natsuo's wives after accepting the mission and they all receive the same rewards. But there are still differences in status among the wives. For example, Yukino, who has the most emotional investment and is childhood friends with Natsuo, receives treatment as the main wife, managing the family's finances and enjoying the most affection. While Uzuki Ijao, who has the highest talent and is also beautiful, ranks second. Perhaps her ranking will change once the Jonin female ninja handles family matters and officially moves into the Uchiha residence. Some wives who are good at competing for favor, or in other words, are willing to please others, are ranked lower. While Natsuo treats the other wives fairly, it is clear that the frequency and favoritism differ. After all, Natsuo is also human. Beautiful people suffer, handsome people are exhausted. He subconsciously wants to dote on women who are more beautiful, have better talent, and can give birth to exceptionally talented Uchiha children. So, if I were to meet Natsuo through a chance encounter, slowly play some tricks, and capture his heart. Marrying into the Uchiha, becoming the head of the clan, and reaching the pinnacle of life. Isn't that more profitable than dry mission rewards? Moreover, there are some women who are weaker in strength, do not meet the mission criteria, but are confident in their appearance and believe that they can capture Natsuo and become noble ladies. They need a channel to interact with Natsuo. So, when Natsuo noticed that the property prices around the Uchiha residence were rising, he immediately sensed what those girls were thinking. And then, he discovered a business opportunity. I have decided to open up the Uchiha clan residence and establish facilities and entertainment venues specifically for women. Natsuo didn't hesitate to say, it was clearly my Uchiha's credit. Why should we push the money out and let the third Hokage earn these taxes? These money should have belonged to our Uchiha clan. By then, I'll earn money from women and use that money to support my women. Isn't that a better way to invest the money instead of giving it to Konoha? Chapter 31, Awakening of the Mangekyo Sharingan. The Uchiha clan has a vast residence. Originally, the Uchiha clan had their residence in a major area in central Konoha. When the Nine Tails incident occurred, the third Hokage forcibly ordered the Uchiha clan to move from the core area of Konoha to the outskirts, which caused a lot of resistance from the Uchiha clan. So, he used both force and persuasion, suppressing the Uchiha clan based on the Sharingan seen in the eyes of the Nine Tails, and at the same time providing some compensation to the Uchiha clan. This compensation was in the form of land area. The land given to them on the outskirts of Konoha village was not much different in value from the land the Uchiha clan had in the city center. Although everyone understood that the difference in value was not significant, in reality, the land in the outskirts was far less valuable than the central area of the city. But as a result, the Uchiha clan's residence expanded a lot, and even with so many Uchiha clan members before the clan was wiped out, they did not fully utilize all the land in their residence. This gave Natsuo enough room to operate. Natsuo pointed to the map. We can develop a women's club here, teaching yoga for body shaping, promoting beauty and skin care, in addition to body spa services within our Uchiha clan. We can develop a KTV here, making it convenient for the girls to sing and relax at night. We can develop a bar here. It wouldn't be bad to create a kabukichi-like district here. In the early stages, we can attract female customers, and later, we can also attract male customers. Natsuo remembered clearly how bars were promoted in the modern age. First, hire a group of beautiful girls to create a lively atmosphere, then use these beautiful girls to attract a bunch of guys. The more guys they attract, the more girls they attract, forming a cycle. His Uchiha development plan could also follow this route. Yukino nodded in agreement. Indeed, although our Uchiha clan is not short of money, the expenses are getting bigger. It's a good thing to earn some extra. Natsuo also thought the same. Although the Uchiha family had considerable wealth, and various industries were continuously contributing income, why not earn money if it's easy? You guys are truly geniuses. Sasuke covered his head with one hand, his small face filled with helplessness. But Natsuo, won't this damage the reputation of our Uchiha clan? Natsuo's development plan was basically turning the Uchiha residence into an entertainment street. But what about the honor of our Uchiha clan? Natsuo said, although many experts don't care much about money, quantity can also cause a qualitative change. Do you believe that if our Uchiha clan were to give 1 billion to the Sand Shinobi village, Raza would send his own daughter over to marry into our clan? If all the children of the Uchiha clan were born to Jonin level kunoichi, do you think our Uchiha clan would still have difficulty revival? Although not all children born to Jonin level kunoichi would necessarily advance to Jonin themselves, their potential would undoubtedly be greater. Sasuke was immediately convinced. For the revival of the Uchiha clan, who would care about matters of reputation? And so, the Uchiha clan development plan began. The ninja's actions have always been fast. Natsuo directly spent a large sum of money in Konoha to announce construction tasks, repairs, or rather, the reconstruction of the Uchiha residence. With the help of ninja techniques, various clubs, dance halls, KTVs, and other entertainment facilities were established at an exaggerated speed. The first one to be built was the Uchiha Women's Wellness Club. It included massages with essential oils, body sculpting yoga, beauty treatments, body spas, and other services. These were all exclusive enjoyments of the Uchiha clan, specially developed by Natsuo for the maintenance of his wives, as well as a little bit of fun between couples. Yes, projects like massages with essential oils were personally handled by Natsuo himself. He personally taught a few apprentices and then opened the Women's Wellness Club. When the women of Konoha heard that these services were specifically for the Uchiha noble women, they were instantly excited. They generously donated money and came to experience it. After experiencing it once, they instantly became addicted. The unheard-of feeling made them feel light, with rosy complexions, relaxed muscles, and rejuvenated skin. This feeling was amazing. Even some noble women from other ninja clans couldn't help but touch their own dull skin and brought their friends. The Uchiha Women's Wellness Club became a sensation. Next was the Uchiha Bar. Natsuo frequently appeared, engaging in acts like accidentally meeting a beauty and paying for everyone's expenses, which made the Uchiha Bar popular. Then came the dance hall, KTV, bowling alley, foot bath, billiard hall. In just 3 to 4 months, Uchiha Entertainment Street resounded throughout Konoha, becoming a place of relaxation for young women. Men also began to instinctively chase after them, sensing the wind and coming specifically to spend money and meet women. The Uchiha residence development plan was a blazing success. And it wasn't just a one-time occurrence. As the Uchiha residence development plan succeeded, Natsuo also received another surprise. Natsuo looked at the pattern on the mirror, which resembled a windmill. Have I awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan? Chapter 32, Baby Boom. I finally activated the Mangekyo Sharingan. It wasn't easy. Natsuo's eyes welled up with tears. Looking back, since the Uchiha clan's annihilation, there had been so much suffering, danger, and enemies constantly watching him. After countless hardships, he finally achieved a good result. It was truly not easy. For this step today, he had to marry and take wives madly, collecting dozens of beautiful women as confidants, singing and fighting all night, surrounded by the fragrance of women. How tragic! How painful! It was truly a world of misery. But ultimately, this awakening of his eyes was both unexpected and expected. Natsuo's awakening was not triggered by any emotional stimulation, but purely by his mental power. Today, a child of one of his wives was born, and the attribute reward happened to be mental power. He had already had more than 20 children, and about half of them had given him mental power enhancement rewards, some even with +2 or +3 bonuses. Including today's reward, he had gained a total of 26. Although Natsuo still didn't know the standard for the value of a +1 in mental power, compared to Chakra's +1 value, it was likely that a +1 in mental power was not a small number. After accumulating it multiple times, he finally reaped the benefits. Powerful mental energy surged into his brain, causing his eyes to ache, and then bursting forth with formidable pupil power. My Mangekyo Sharingan techniques are Amaterasu and Ama no Uzume. Amaterasu, the eternal black flames that never extinguished. They wouldn't disappear until the target was burned to ashes, making it an extremely destructive technique. As for the other ability, Ama no Uzume, it made Natsuo's expression become strange. Its ability was very simple, which was to restore physical strength. The degree of restoration was minimal, roughly equivalent to half a day's recovery after consuming the energy from using the Sharingan. Of course, in contrast, the consumption was also minimal. Natsuo tried it out and found that the consumption was so low that he could use the technique 100 times in a row without even a drop of blood flowing from his eyes. It was almost equivalent to no consumption at all. But the usefulness of this technique was even greater than that of Amaterasu. After all, it seems that after being exhausted, I can use this technique, cough cough. Natsuo was also human. Now that he had over 30 wives, his daily schedule was packed. At least 3 times a day. This consumption, even if he drank black beer every day, he couldn't bear it. Although the chakra increase improved his physical condition to some extent, one must know that even Naruto, who had enormous chakra reserves, seemed constantly exhausted in the Boruto series. With this technique, he could now engage in battles with numerous experts. Natsuo stood up without hesitation and called a few wives who hadn't become pregnant yet. Ria, Yuuka, Rina. Tonight I will fight like a hero. The Uchiha clan will welcome a new baby boom. Natsuo then continued to take in several wives in succession. Among them, he spent money to recruit a Jonin, as well as 2 exceptionally talented kunoichis, making a big move that shook Konoha and attracted more women to linger on Uchiha Entertainment Street. It even gave off a feeling of flaunting wealth, and it was estimated that many people were envious. Even Kakuzu, who had returned to work, couldn't help but complain, feeling that his workload had increased. But Natsuo didn't mind. With the activation of the Mangekyo Sharingan this time, he had successfully reached the cage level. Coupled with the powerful chakra that belonged to the cage level, and various ninjutsu rewards that allowed him to freely use them in battle, even among the high-level cage, he was not weak. Even if he were to clash with Konoha, he wouldn't be at a disadvantage. Not to mention just showing off some wealth. The Uchiha revival plan should be accelerated. On the other hand, perhaps out of envy and longing for Natsuo's recent abundance of women, Naruto finally decided to put Natsuo's advice into practice. He cast a wide net, caught many fish, and tried hard to approach girls. In the end, he successfully made 3 female classmates willing to die for him. The first female classmate, Naruto, if you bother me again, I'll die to show you. The second female classmate, if you say another word, let's die together. The third female classmate, be your girlfriend? Sure, if I'm blind in my next life, I'll marry you. Naruto. After being rejected once again, he couldn't help but seek out Natsuo. Natsuo, is there something wrong with this situation? Naruto looked innocent. I clearly did as you said, so why is it like this? Chapter 33, Tempting Proposal. In Naruto's eyes, there was a sense of confusion. This shouldn't be happening. I followed Natsuo's advice, so why haven't I found a girlfriend yet? Natsuo was silent for a moment. Could he tell him that he was just teasing him? Besides, he looked at Naruto's muddy shoes, cheap dirty clothes, unkempt hairstyle, and comical cat beard that might become beautiful in the future but was currently ridiculous. Does this guy even realize he's chasing after girls? Natsuo decided to give up on even trying to help him and comforted him. It's okay, Naruto. Failure is the mother of success. Keep casting your net and you will definitely catch fish. Naruto's eyes filled with anticipation. Really? Natsuo, you're not lying to me, right? Am I the kind of person who would lie to you? Natsuo said with dissatisfaction. Do I have no integrity in your eyes? How can you not trust me? All right, I'll swear to the heavens. As long as there is a single false word in what I say, let the entire third Hokage's family perish. Now do you believe me? Natsuo raised 3 fingers, his words resolute. Naruto nodded vigorously. I believe you. Natsuo, I believe you. If Natsuo is willing to make such a solemn oath, then it must be true. I was too much to doubt Natsuo. I'll continue fishing. This time, I will definitely succeed. Naruto left excitedly, deciding to set a small goal for himself, confessing to every female classmate in the school. This time, I'll definitely catch something. Natsuo had to continue adapting to his increased power due to the awakening of the Mangekyo Sharingan. In fact, there have been many situations like this before. It may be that every time a child is born, the techniques he receives become completely integrated with him. But the increase in chakra as well as the increase in mental power generate small changes in his body, which meant that he constantly dedicates a little time to adapt. The stronger the ninja, the better the control over his body and his own energy should be. He can't afford to make such a simple mistake. But this time, it was the promotion of the Mangekyo Sharingan after all, and the increase in power was a bit exaggerated, requiring Natsuo to take some time to adapt to the surgeon's strength. And those 2 techniques. Not to mention Amaterasu, but Ama no Uzume is truly powerful. Newcomers like Misaki were left weak in their limbs because of this pupil technique, and in the end, they all praised it together. So, this is the power of the Uchiha. It's truly terrifying. With this technique, the power balance within the Uchiha clan has undergone astonishing changes. Natsuo was also decisive, increasing the reward for having children and spending a lot of money to recruit several female genin. Because the pupil technique's effect was too strong, it gave him more energy to have more children. So Natsuo even encountered a few talented, good-natured, and clean girls in the newly built Uchiha KTV, bars, and other places, and took them into his harem. This behavior drove the female ninjas of Konoha even more crazy, and they spent more money on the Uchiha entertainment street. When Natsuo finished adapting to his power and was ready to continue his efforts for the revival of the Uchiha clan with his wives, an unexpected guest arrived at his door. Uchiha clan reception room. Anko? Are you here to find Yi Kurane? Natsuo blinked. But in today's training, I countered Kurane's illusion, and she got a little injured. She's resting now. Yi Kurane is showing signs of pregnancy now, so she can't receive visitors. However, Mitarashi Anko shook her head. No, I'm here to find you. Find me? Natsuo was puzzled. Yes. Anko nodded, her face turning red, but her expression pretended to be calm. If I were to sell myself, how much would your Uchiha clan pay? Are you here for the mission to have children for the Uchiha clan? Natsuo was surprised. Something of the sort. Anko sighed lightly. But the standard reward won't do. I don't plan on selling myself cheaply. There was a hint of sadness and helplessness in her eyes. She couldn't bear it anymore. Her own strength was still weak, and she couldn't earn a lot of money through missions. Her family was also suppressed and unable to provide resources for her. The lack of resources led to slow progress. When will I be able to find that damn man and settle this account with him? Anko clenched her teeth, feeling anxious. And recently, the Uchiha clan has been spending a lot of money, exuding a rich aura. Anko, who had lost a large number of snakes in a mission, causing her strength to decline, finally couldn't bear it and bowed to reality. I understand. Natsuo pondered for a moment and nodded. Although he didn't know what had happened to Anko recently that made this naturally proud woman bow her head to achieve her goal. But she could guess that like the other Jonin-level kunoichis who reluctantly accepted the mission of bearing a child for the Uchiha clan, she was in a difficult situation, and she didn't see a way out. Although Anko didn't need to take care of her family, she still had the goal of seeking revenge against Orochimaru. For this goal, she could only choose to let go of her pride. How about the treatment of a Jonin? Natsuo pondered for a moment. Although becoming a disciple of Orochimaru was in itself a test of talent, but still considering that he only became a Takubutsu Jonin until the end of the series, it was not worth the effort on Natsuo's part. But now that he has more power, he could afford to relax a little, and help one of his favorite female characters from the Naruto series. That's not what I need. Anko took a deep breath. I can marry into your Uchiha clan and not ask you for money in the future when we have more children, but I need a large sum of money up front. At this age when I can progress the most easily, I can't let money hold me back anymore. Anko was only 20 now, which was a good time for her strength to improve. But by the time he turned 30, it would be good if his strength did not recede, however it would be very difficult to increase it. She didn't want to waste her potential or give up her goal of hunting down Orochimaru, which was why she ultimately chose to sell herself. To achieve your goal, what's wrong with overdrawing your body in the future? Anko looked at Natsuo, who furrowed his brows and hesitated. She took a deep breath and showed a sweet smile with a hint of wickedness, licking her lips. Don't worry, I won't let you lose. I will definitely satisfy you and make you feel like it's worth it. Natsuo looked at Anko's lithe, crimson tongue, feeling tempted. This proposal seemed quite tempting. Chapter 34, High Tide in the Library. Anko, are you using those conditions to test my mental strength? When was I, Natsuo, a person capable of resisting such temptations? Natsuo didn't hesitate and let out a sigh. Of course, the conditions Anko offered were very tempting. She only has one child for now, and after turning 30, when the growth rate of strength slows down, you can have as many children as you want. Anko would not refuse, nor would she ask for additional rewards. At the same time, Anko herself was willing to serve as a ninja for the Uchiha clan, willing to fight and die for the Uchiha clan. This was a condition that other wives could not offer. After all, they married into the Uchiha clan to live the life of a rich lady. The children they have will continue to have the same potential. On the other hand, the children Anko has will increase her potential as she continues to get stronger. Making them train, fight, or even sacrifice themselves was something that other wives would not be very willing to do. But Anko was simple, and she was willing to do anything to achieve her goal. Although she would receive a reward 5 times the normal Jonin standard, she would become a member of the Uchiha clan from now on, and you could assign her as you pleased. Damn obsession from my previous life. This is the opportunity to have a relationship with one of my favorite characters from the Naruto series. Besides, she could do missions and have children for me. This was a great deal. Although Anko's current strength does not justify the 5 times Jonin level reward, her strength may improve in the future. What currently limits his strength is his financial situation, not his talent. Furthermore, with this I can fulfill one of the fantasies of my previous life. According to the original plot, she could become a special Jonin in a few years, and even one of the strongest. With the financial support of the Uchiha clan, it would be easy for her to become a Jonin within a few years. Why there is a high probability that she will become an elite Jonin in the future. With all these conditions, Natsuo has no more reason to refuse. The reward was negotiated, and the contract was signed. Natsuo took Anko to collect the reward. Also, he led Anko towards the Uchiha clan's ninja library. Kurane was also accompanying them. Anko, I never expected that you would end up. Kurane covered her forehead with her hand, her tone filled with helplessness. Accepting the Uchiha clan's mission was a matter of time in my situation, but I really didn't expect that you would accept that mission. Anko was left speechless by her friend. You were supposed to come to the Uchiha clan to teach Natsuo genjutsu, but you ended up with a child in your belly from the genjutsu. Anko had already married into the Uchiha clan, so it was impossible to hide Kurane's pregnancy. Kurane felt helpless. How could she face her best friend in this situation? Fortunately, her best friend was also involved. If it was accidentally discovered by someone else, that would truly be embarrassing. We're here. This is the Uchiha clan's ninja library. Natsuo smiled faintly, please come in. During this time, he had reacquired some of the ninjutsu that the third Hokage had taken, in addition to those from the system rewards, and the few that initially remained, he managed to almost completely restore the Uchiha clan's ninjutsu collection. There were strong barriers here, and Natsuo had paid a high price to have the Konoha barrier division put them up. He also asked Konan to help him place another layer of barriers on the outside of the barrier. But with Natsuo leading them, they naturally didn't have to worry about these things. Natsuo pushed open the door to the attic and made an inviting gesture. Anko swallowed nervously and exchanged a glance with Kurane, her eyes filled with solemnity. From the Sengoku era to the present, there were an incredibly large number of scrolls that were stored, even comparable to the entire inventory of some small ninja villages. Luckily the hidden parts of the library were not discovered by Konoha when they took the things for safekeeping from him. And Natsuo only discovered them during the library renovation because of the Sharingan. It should be noted that although Konoha is a village that handles all styles of ninjutsu, its fire style ninjutsu is one of the most exceptional. And the Konoha fire style was contributed by the Uchiha clan. Although there were other clans that contributed later and various geniuses who contributed their own research results, the foundation was laid by the Uchiha clan. The two women walked in. Looking around, there were bookshelves filled with scrolls. It was like a library. However, most books in a library are useless to ninjas, but here, these were ninjutsu that were treasured by the outside world. Here are a total of 1,391 B-rank ninjutsu scrolls here, 270 A-rank ninjutsu scrolls, and 17 S-rank ninjutsu scrolls. They include the 5 elemental nature transformations, genjutsu, taijutsu, and even some low-level yin-yang release. As long as it's a type you can mention, we Uchiha have them all. The corners of Natsuo's mouth slightly lifted. This is the strongest heritage of the Uchiha clan. Don't be fooled by the hundreds of millions of taels donated for the mission of having children for the Uchiha clan. Actually, in the hearts of higher-level ninjas, this money may not be comparable to the A and S rank ninjutsu stored here. There are some things that money can't buy. The ninjutsu here is priceless. In terms of value, it is 10 times larger than the sum of all Uchiha industries. If used properly, it could even create a medium-sized ninja village. If a strong person emerges with good luck, coupled with some accumulation, it might even turn the 5 great shinobi nations into 6. This is the true heritage of the Uchiha. Kurane swallowed her saliva, as if feeling a heavy pressure coming towards her, like a mountain. But she didn't think Natsuo was lying. Kakashi himself had gained fame as a copy ninja, and with so many Sharingan experts in the Uchiha clan, copying enemy ninjutsu in battle and leaving a backup for the clan. Isn't this a normal thing? Natsuo bringing them here was also a show of trust. With the Uchiha's heritage to assist, what can't you achieve? Join the Uchiha clan, and you won't regret it. The main purpose of this is to show the strengths of the Uchiha clan to Kurane. After all, Anko already joined the Uchiha clan. Kurane was indeed shocked. However, Anko remained silent. Natsuo blinked his eyes. Anko, if you want any ninjutsu, just go and find it. Anko, Anko. He called out a few times, but Anko remained silent. Kurane carefully looked for a while, her face turning red, and whispered, Anko, it's just the three of us here. If you can't stand, just sit down. It's not embarrassing. Thud. Anko directly collapsed, her limbs going weak. Natsuo. This girl. Did she just have a high tide from the sheer amount of ninjutsu? Wealth, sometimes it can truly overwhelm a person's soul. Even when they finally selected the ninjutsu and left the ninjutsu library, Anko's mouth still had traces of greedy saliva. Then, looking at the amount just transferred to the bank. If I had so many ninjutsu, why would I continue to use Orochimaru's secret techniques? She wasn't stupid. She knew it would be difficult to defeat Orochimaru using the ninjutsu taught by Orochimaru. But without these ninjutsu, the success rate of using other ninjutsu would be even lower. And now, with the Uchiha clan's ninjutsu, why would she still need Orochimaru's forbidden technique? It's showy and expensive. I don't need it anymore. She didn't know if she truly believed that with the Uchiha clan's assistance, her chances of revenge would be high. Anyway, tonight Natsuo discovered that Anko had a lot of tricks up her sleeve. Especially her flexible body, which came from being a disciple of Orochimaru, and her agile tongue. Experienced in countless battles, Natsuo was almost overwhelmed by her for a moment, almost killed by Anko, who was still a rookie. Fortunately, a rookie's momentum only lasts for a short while, and her physical discomfort made her unsuitable for a prolonged battle. Natsuo quickly regained his composure and gave her a harsh lesson. However, this style, it feels somewhat similar to one of my wives. Natsuo narrowed his eyes. So Orochimaru also sent people to me. Chapter 35, Someone really betrayed Uchiha clan? The style of each ninja is something difficult to change. For example, the shinobi of Tsunagakure have a resilient character due to their harsh environment. Even in desperate situations, they are determined to make a breakthrough. The shinobi of Kirigakure have outstanding individual abilities, but they are not good at cooperation and are not skilled in large-scale battles. On the contrary, the shinobi of Iwagakure have poor individual abilities, but they have excellent cooperation. Coupled with their proficiency in earth release and the absence of strong individuals, they can achieve impressive results through teamwork. Shinobi who are trained directly by Orochimaru also often have a feeling of deviating from the norm. So, the girl Ayako who accepted the task earlier was sent by Orochimaru. When that Ayako served him, it was quite stimulating. Her service attitude was very enthusiastic, and she was also flexible. Ahem. Anyway, although it's just a matter of style and relationships between men and women, Natsuo still believed that his guess was correct. Of course, he didn't care about such things. After all, to be honest, there are quite a few spies in the Uchiha clan. Among the spies he discovered or those who secretly confessed to him, there was one from Root, two from the third Hokage, and one from the Tsunagakure. For example, the third Hokage sent Uzuki Ijao and her superior captain. Then Natsuo took them both to bed at the same time. He wondered what kind of thoughts they had at that moment when they saw themselves together in her bed. Shyness? Discomfort? Embarrassment? Well, Natsuo felt pretty good about it and thought that he could have more interactions like this in the future. The numerous spies couldn't affect the development of the Uchiha clan. Uzuki Ijao is about to give birth to her second child, but she hasn't provided any information to the third Hokage yet. Well, it's not like she can do anything. After all, apart from Natsuo's own strength, there seems to be no other information about the Uchiha clan that she can report. Even if she wants to complete her spy mission, it seems that there is nothing she can do. Recently, perhaps because her second child is about to be born, Uzuki Ijao's secret contacts with the outside world have become less frequent, giving off an air of I might as well just accept my fate. After all, the benefits provided by the Uchiha clan are something that the village cannot match. Which normal spy would ignore these benefits and their own children just to pick sesame seeds? 2 months later, Anko successfully became pregnant and gradually reduced her intense training, focusing all her attention on changing her fighting style. Yes, she has completely abandoned Orochimaru's secret techniques and decided to become a normal shinobi. Before her, several genin who had to devote themselves to the Uchiha clan due to various factors also became pregnant. At the same time, the Uchiha clan also experienced a baby boom. First, Yukino's child was born. Then Ijao's child was born. In addition to the children born to other wives, the cries of babies in the Uchiha clan residence became even louder. And this naturally brought many benefits to Natsuo. Offspring +1, the comprehensive potential evaluation is 45, you gain chakra +2, fire release, phoenix sage flower nail crimson. Offspring +2, the comprehensive potential evaluations are 51 and 52 respectively, you gain mental power +6, mystical palm technique. Offspring +1, the comprehensive potential evaluation of this clan member is 101, you gain chakra +6, wood release, wood clone technique. The first one is a normal reward for giving birth to a child. The second one is for twins, so the rewards are combined, adding up to a total of 6 points in attributes. The ninjutsu has also become much more advanced, granting the A-rank medical ninjutsu, healing jutsu. This is also normal. Natsuo has had many children, and this is not the first time he has seen twins. Although the rewards for twins accumulated and can upgrade the rewards, since the probability is uncontrollable, Natsuo doesn't pay too much attention to it. The key point is the ninjutsu reward given in the third prompt. It is normal for children with the Uchiha bloodline to learn fire release, which is why the corresponding ninjutsu is given as a reward. It's also normal to learn medical ninjutsu, as there are always some clan members who possess it. But how could an Uchiha clan member possibly have wood release? The mother of the third child is Uzuki Ijao, a female ninja with excellent talent but no other bloodline. Although the child born to Natsuo and Ijao has surpassed 100 in the comprehensive potential assessment, it is impossible for them to have the Senju bloodline. So, if the comprehensive potential assessment score is high, then ninjutsu unrelated to the parent's bloodline will be rewarded. Natsuo thought to himself. Because my strength has been increasing until now. In addition to that, Uzuki Ijao is one of the mothers with the strongest talent among those who have given birth so far. Uzuki Ijao always brings surprises to Natsuo with every birth. If the evaluation score exceeds 100, could a reward related to other fictional worlds appear? Natsuo will wait for Kurene's son next so he can verify his guess, as well as the children of several unnamed Jonin-level kunoichi from the original story, and Anko's son, who was recently conceived. Natsuo then tried out the new wood clone technique reward. This reward for wood release is simply a wood clone technique without Senju Hashirama's Kekii Genkai, just a ninjutsu. To put it plainly, it's at most on par with Yamato's level, slightly stronger due to Natsuo's chakra enhancement. But Natsuo is not disappointed. Currently it is just a small-scale ninjutsu. When you accumulate enough chakra in the future, activate Sage Mode, and have obtained the reward of Hashirama's Kekii Genkai. That will be the real Mokyuton. Natsuo is looking forward to it. Natsuo was excited and wanted to see what rewards Kurene's children, Anko, and the other Jonin-level kunoichi would give him. But his train of thought was interrupted by an unexpected situation. A kunoichi who was 6 months pregnant actually abandoned the glory and wealth brought by the Uchiha clan. Resolutely, she defected. Obviously, she is a loyal spy, a true kunoichi who was not swayed by the Uchiha clan's money. I didn't expect there to be someone like this. Natsuo sighed helplessly. I can only say that Orochimaru is really competent. His brainwashing skills are so profound that not even money and a comfortable life could influence this spy. Indeed, the female spy who defected this time is none other than Miss Ayako. Natsuo recognized her serving style to be similar to Anko's and concluded that she must be a spy sent by Orochimaru. Chapter 36, Orochimaru's Base. Ayako was actually very conflicted. In fact, as Natsuo had suspected before, she was a spy sent by Orochimaru to obtain the Uchiha bloodline. But the Uchiha clan's treatment was really good. Maids serving them, high-end toiletries, a spacious mansion, abundant food, and perfect medical care. If possible, she would have loved to stay with the Uchiha clan for the rest of her life. However, she was still a spy after all, carefully cultivated by Orochimaru, and had received Orochimaru's favor since she was young. For Orochimaru, she was willing to die. Well, in fact, most female spies, when joining the Uchiha clan, had to sacrifice themselves for the village, abandon their own dignity as women, and even be prepared to sacrifice their lives. But under the gentle bombardment of the Uchiha clan, not many could hold out for long. However, Orochimaru was indeed a life mentor, a master of brainwashing. Ayako was one of the few who still held on to her mission. Of course, Ayako had also been conflicted for a long time. Because the first 3 months of pregnancy were the most critical period for fetal development and not suitable for traveling. In the late stage of pregnancy, 7 to 9 months, pregnant women undergo significant physiological changes and have reduced adaptability to the environment, making it unsuitable for travel. So, her 6-month pregnancy was already the deadline. She hesitated for a long time. In the end, she chose Orochimaru over the Uchiha clan. Ayako felt that if she continued to stay with the Uchiha family, the Uchiha would definitely be satisfied, but Orochimaru-sama would be hurt. But if she went to seek refuge with Orochimaru-sama, perhaps Orochimaru-sama could provide her with a win-win solution. Maybe a few years later, she could return to the Uchiha clan in a glorious manner, with her child, and continue to be a wealthy lady. So, she seized the opportunity to escape from the Uchiha clan residence. And then, she was immediately discovered by Kakuzu. "How about I go help you catch her?" Kakuzu said in a deep voice, then added, "My mission is only to protect the members within the Uchiha clan residence from external threats. This is not within my responsibility. So, it would require additional payment." Natsuo glanced helplessly at Kakuzu. "No need." He looked at the gradually disappearing figure of the woman and shook his head gently. "I'll handle this matter myself." Natsuo actually admired Orochimaru's level of brainwashing. There were many spies among his own wives, planted by the third Hokage, Danzo, Tsunagakure, and other villages. Various people from different places, many of whom were high-level spies who had infiltrated Konoha for many years, with impeccable mental strength. But over 2 years had passed, and not a single person had defected. Although Orochimaru was defeated by Itaki, he was extremely obsessed with the Uchiha bloodline. However, he had limited manpower and energy and couldn't focus too much on the Uchiha bloodline. 99% of the Uchiha clan members were incomparable to him, one of the Sunin. In fact, before seeing Sasuke's talent, he didn't pay much attention to Sasuke either. Otherwise, the Anbu arranged by the third Hokage to protect Sasuke won't be able to stop him. So, this should just be an incidental move by Orochimaru, but he ended up being the only spy in the Uchiha clan who defected. Of course, Natsuo didn't blame Ayako. She came as a spy in the first place, and Natsuo knew that. Both sides benefited from each other. If we have to say, she belongs to the loyal warrior who hasn't been defeated by sugar-coated bullets, with a much higher moral character than ordinary people, and should be respected. But Orochimaru, if you can send spies to my house, then it's reasonable for me to return the favor, right? Ayako tried to escape. Being pregnant, she was somewhat inconvenienced in her movements. If she hadn't hidden a certain strength, she wouldn't have the confidence to escape. Natsuo, you must be very sad. Ayako felt gloomy in her heart, but then she became excited again. It's okay, once I complete Orochimaru-sama's mission, I can beg Orochimaru-sama for mercy. Maybe we can see each other again soon. When the time comes, no matter how you punish me, I can accept it. I know you've been thinking about some ways to play for a long time, and I can accompany you. She touched her big belly, her eyes filled with a hint of tenderness. Although being pregnant and traveling long distances was not a good thing for the child. But when the child is born, with the Uchiha bloodline's talent, maybe they can receive Orochimaru-sama's personal education. The Uchiha clan is good in everything, but the strongest is only Natsuo, a ninja who is officially a Jonin but actually a Chunin, and he definitely can't compare to Orochimaru-sama in terms of child education. Maybe in the future, there will be someone like that guy named Itaka who will make a move against the Uchiha clan, and my talented son can defeat him and restore the Uchiha's reputation. She dreamed of a win-win situation. Ayako gritted her teeth and continued forward. She didn't know which one of her false traces had worked, but she had safely avoided any possible pursuit from Konoha along the way. This made Ayako feel even more like she was the chosen one. If the escape went so smoothly, then my remaining dreams should also go smoothly, right? Soon, she crossed the land of fire and entered the land of rice fields. Then, following some secret codes left by Orochimaru, she found an underground base. Ayako, you've worked hard on this mission. Orochimaru's face was slightly pale, and with the strange equipment around him, he looked somewhat sinister. Orochimaru-sama, I have completed the task you gave me. I have brought back a child with the Uchiha bloodline. Ayako's eyes were filled with fanaticism. Yes, not only did you bring back a child with the Uchiha lineage, but you also brought back an additional person. Ayako was stunned and suddenly turned her head. She saw a handsome young man standing casually behind her. She couldn't help but exclaim, Natsuo. Chapter 37, Your techniques are meaningless in front of my eyes. Dressed in a pure white shirt, with straight pants and a slight smile. Natsuo had a beautiful and cheerful appearance. Natsuo, when did you arrive? Ayako was a little confused. Oh, when I saw a pregnant woman suddenly leaving quietly, I was a bit worried, so I followed you here, Natsuo smiled slightly. Otherwise, with your mediocre skills, how could you have come here without any problems? You've been following me all this time. Ayako opened her mouth, her eyes filled with surprise. Is this still the ordinary Uchiha who was thought to have escaped from the enemy's assassination by luck, and only had the strength of a Chunin? Although she was affected by her pregnancy, she was still an elite Chunin. All the way, she hadn't noticed at all. But after the surprise, Ayako suddenly realized the current situation. No, Natsuo, listen to my explanation. She suddenly became flustered, as if she had been caught in an affair, and hurriedly said, I came here because, I am. But suddenly she was stuck and speechless. Because she didn't know how to explain it well. Or did she even need to give some explanation? The last Uchiha, hey. Orochimaru completely ignored Ayako's panic and looked at Natsuo with great interest. You hid yourself well enough, but you were careless to show yourself to me for the sake of a woman. This is truly a treasure bestowed upon me by heaven. His eyes were filled with excitement. Suddenly, A figure rushed towards Natsuo from the side. At a glance, Ayako recognized the person. Orochimaru's assistant, and her superior in charge of the intelligence, Yakushi Kabuto. He was an elite genin. Yakushi Kabuto approached almost instantly, holding a kunai, heading straight for Natsuo. "Natsuo, be careful!" Ayako instinctively shouted, trying to intervene. But with her strength, she could only manage to shout out these few words, her body unable to move in time. She watched as Yakushi Kabuto's kunai was about to fall on Natsuo. At this moment, Natsuo laughed. His smile was full of disdain. The next second, a flash of silver shimmered. Yakushi Kabuto's face changed drastically, he spat out blood and was forced to retreat. A kunai was embedded in each of his limbs. Blood trickled down, staining his clothes. Natsuo's expression remained calm as he calmly said, "It's impolite to randomly draw a kunai against others. I also dislike it when someone draws a weapon against me. This is a lesson. Before resorting to violence, think about the consequences. For a ninja, revealing a weapon means deciding life and death. Not everyone will give you a second chance." Ayako and Yakushi Kabuto's pupils contracted. In an instant. Just for that instant. This guy. Although Yakushi Kabuto's age and strength have not reached their peak, they barely meet the threshold of an elite genin. But defeating an elite genin in an instant? Even Orochimaru was stunned, with a hint of a meaningful smile on his face. "It seems that under the shadow of my teacher, there is truly a formidable monster hidden. With this level of strength, if you were there when Atake wiped out the clan, perhaps the Uchiha wouldn't have ended up like this. Despite having such strength, you always put on a weak appearance, and even strive to marry multiple wives, have children, and plan to revive a ninja clan on your own. You Uchiha are all truly crazy. It's one thing for that young guy, Itake, to defeat me at such a young age, but Fugaku, who made a name for himself on the battlefield, was suppressed by the third Hokage and looked like a little cat. And now there's another Uchiha who is clearly super strong but thinks about having children every day. The Uchiha clan truly are crazy. Shall we, Natsuo, you're really amazing." Orochimaru couldn't help but exclaim. Natsuo remained calm at this. Orochimaru's praise has no value to him. The real moving praise happens in the living room, in the kitchen, in the bathroom, on the couch. It is the words of his wives who praised him in those places that really moved him. "Natsuo, you are so amazing." That's the praise that comes from the soul. Sorry, although I'm grateful to Orochimaru for giving me a wife, after all, the next generation of Uchiha is still in her belly. Natsuo glanced at Ayako. "So, I have to take my wife back home. Your place here is not suitable for pregnant women. I'll wait for Orochimaru to arrange the accommodation and then bring my wife home for a visit. You're here to take her away." Orochimaru smirked coldly. "That's fine, she's just a pawn I casually arranged. If you want her, I'll give her to you." Ayako stood there, stiff. She understood that she had betrayed the Uchiha clan, but Natsuo still wanted to take her home. And Orochimaru, whom she admired. She bit her lip, tears of shame streaming down her face. "But Natsuo, relying on your own strength to come before me, this is not what a wise man would do." Orochimaru looked at Natsuo's body, a greedy look flashing in his eyes. "As a farewell gift, I suggest you leave your body behind." In the next second, he suddenly opened his mouth. A snake head emerged from his mouth, the snake head opened its mouth, and a sharp sword appeared, stabbing towards Natsuo. At the same time, Orochimaru instantly released a large number of snakes from his sleeve, and they immediately headed offensively towards Natsuo. This sudden attack was swift and dangerous, the air filled with a dense killing intent, as if it could freeze the world. However, Natsuo just sighed lightly. In his eyes, the pattern of a spinning windmill moved rapidly. Mangekyo Sharingan technique. In the next second, Orochimaru, who was about to pounce, found that the whole world had changed. He appeared out of thin air in a space full of blood-red illusions, and his body was nailed to several large iron nails. In an instant, he was unable to move. "Haven't you heard this saying?" Natsuo calmly stared at him. "Orochimaru, your techniques are meaningless in front of my Sharingan." Chapter 38, Orochimaru can also be a pimp. "Orochimaru, your techniques are meaningless in front of my Sharingan." Has Orochimaru heard this sentence before? He has heard it too many times. I would even remember him in death. "Orochimaru, your techniques are useless in front of my Sharingan." It was what Itachi Uchiha said to him when he attacked him. Almost identical. And now, not only did he lose to Uchiha Itachi, but he also lost to Uchiha Natsuo. These eyes, the legendary Mangekyo Sharingan. Orochimaru gritted his teeth, his eyes filled with unrestrained resentment. "I never expected that you would also possess the same eyes as Itachi. You've hidden it well. Did you awaken them when you learned about the night of Uchiha clan massacre? It's amazing how you claimed to have insufficient talent and entrusted the task of avenging the Uchiha to Sasuke. It was all a cover-up, wasn't it? To think that Itachi's little brother became your scapegoat." Orochimaru's voice was filled with anger and humiliation. In front of this Sharingan, he seemed to recall the humiliation he suffered when he attacked Itachi. Natsuo remained expressionless. Although Orochimaru's words didn't quite match reality, it didn't matter. "My affairs have nothing to do with you," Natsuo calmly said. "But Orochimaru, you still have value to me." In the next second, he blinked his eyes. And the surging power in his eyes quickly dissipated, and the Mangekyo Sharingan gradually disappeared, returning to normal eyes. Orochimaru could move now. Natsuo had released the genjutsu. He furrowed his brows, and the anger on his face gradually dissipated. "What do you want?" Orochimaru took a deep breath and regained his composure. He was actually a very calm person. If it weren't for the deep wounds inflicted by Itachi in the past, he wouldn't have become so obsessed with the Sharingan, and ultimately in the original plot it wouldn't have become a stepping stone for Urushizi. "Senju Hashirama's cells and Jago's cells," Natsuo said directly, without any politeness. One referred to the special body of the sage and the other to the sage mode. He didn't need them himself. With the system's help, he could slowly accumulate everything conveniently and safely, without taking any risks. But these things could greatly enhance a person's potential. In other words, his women could benefit from them. Of course, Natsuo didn't think that just because he had gained the upper hand, he could easily kill Orochimaru or control him. There was no one in the ninja world more difficult to kill than Orochimaru. Not to mention the hidden trump card of the Cursed Seal. Just based on this confrontation, Natsuo didn't think he could defeat him. Orochimaru is a veteran ninja. After Itachi attacked his weaknesses and was hit unilaterally, would Orochimaru really not remember it, nor would he have defenses against attacks on his own weaknesses? How could that be possible? In fact, in the original plot, during the battle between Itachi against Sasuke, when the latter releases the chakra that was holding Orochimaru inside his body, Orochimaru emerges with his Yamata no Jutsu on Itachi, but the latter did not simply use his visual prowess and genjutsu to crush him like the first time. Obviously, this weakness had already been somewhat compensated for or guarded against. Hashirama's cells and Jago's cells. Orochimaru furrowed his brows and looked at Natsuo strangely. "You really know a lot, don't you? Hashirama's cells are inherently secretive, and only a few people in Konoha, such as Danzo and the third Hokage, know about them. But it is not impossible for him to know them either, because there are other ways to find out about Hashirama's cells. But it hasn't been long since I acquired Jago's cells." "How does Natsuo know?" "Sure, but you'll have to wait. Hashirama's cells are here, but Jago's cells are in another research lab. I'll have someone bring them." Orochimaru nodded without bargaining. "Then I'll wait. I have time anyway." Natsuo smiled faintly. He casually grabbed a chair and sat down. Orochimaru fell silent for a moment and began contacting his subordinates. Yakushi Kabuto also gritted his teeth and started treating his injuries. On the other hand, Ayako was confused by this series of changes. When she finally reacted, things had already turned out like this. After hesitating for a moment, she eventually approached Natsuo. She massaged his shoulders, rubbed his legs, and apologized softly. Even her tone and actions carried a hint of seduction. If she wasn't pregnant now, they might have gone further. Natsuo accepted it all without saying a word about forgiving her. A woman who has betrayed once will betray again. He won't give her a second chance. Once the child is born and the mission is complete, what do I care about her feelings? But it has to be said that the kunoichi trained by Orochimaru is indeed unique, with a great taste and unquestionable skills. She knows how to capture a man's interest. Natsuo is also a normal man, and he has been abstaining for a few days because of this pursuit. It's inevitable that he would have some reactions. Seeing this, Ayako increased her efforts. She knew that men find it difficult to stay angry in certain physical states. With a little effort, maybe. Oh, it seems that this is my mistake. Orochimaru suddenly spoke, his voice full of laughter. Natsuo-kun has come to my territory, how can I not entertain you properly? He turned his head and gave a few instructions to Yakushi Kabuto. Yakushi Kabuto's expression was strange, but he still followed the orders. Not long after, he returned with several good-looking kunoichis. These female ninjas all had good looks, each with their own unique characteristics. In terms of strength, there was even a Jainin and 2 special Jainin among them. It was clear that Orochimaru was not unaware of Natsuo's preferences. As soon as this group of attractive women approached, they gathered around Natsuo. They lightly massaged his shoulders, rubbed his legs, and a faint, elegant fragrance filled the air. His body was surrounded by softness. Natsuo's expression became strange. Can Orochimaru really stoop to this level? So, should he accept this kindness or refuse it? After all, they were fighting just a few minutes ago, and now accepting this kindness, Natsuo felt a bit conflicted. It's not good that he forgives him so easily, but rejecting Orochimaru's goodwill would also be a disappointment. This might be the only time Orochimaru has done something like this in his life. It seems that I can only accept it silently to accurately express my feelings. Chapter 39, Orochimaru's Human Trafficking. The esteemed Sunin, Orochimaru, personally involved in human trafficking? Natsuo was shocked. He took a deep breath and sneered, "Are you trying to seduce me with your beauty? Am I the kind of person who can't resist temptation?" The women all approached seductively. "Lord Natsuo! Lord Natsuo, your body is so strong. My lord, how do you feel?" The soft touch occasionally transmitted through the movement of their bodies, and the pleasant musky scent filled his nose. "Am I the kind of person who can't resist temptation? Yes, I am. So please tempt me a few more times, sisters. After all, Orochimaru has reached such a level, how can I not give him face?" Orochimaru chuckled lightly, "Natsuo-kun, don't worry, this is just my compensation and I also want to make a deal with you." "What kind of deal?" Natsuo struggled to squeeze his face out from the pile of softness. "It's human trafficking," Orochimaru chuckled. "I remember that the Uchiha clan is quite wealthy, and you have offered quite generous treatment to the kunoichis who marry into the Uchiha clan. To be honest, even I am a little envious of the rewards." He licked his lips lightly, a hint of greed flashing in his eyes. Natsuo said, "Sorry, I'm a man and I'm only interested in women. I'm not interested in men, but thanks anyway." Orochimaru. Even I, the worthy Sunin, don't like men. Oh, wait, the body I'm using now seems to belong to a female ninja, but that's not important. I will use the kunoichis under my command in exchange for Natsuo-kun's financial support. Orochimaru didn't hide anything and said directly, I can provide at least Jonin-level female ninjas who are guaranteed to be physically healthy, have good looks, and are in their prime reproductive age. I don't need the Uchiha clan's ninjutsu. But in return, I hope to obtain a large amount of funds. Doing research requires a lot of money. In Natsuo's previous life, several countries invested billions in funds into research, but sometimes there was no progress at all. Although Orochimaru himself is a top scientist who can ensure research results, the required funds cannot appear out of thin air. And currently preparing for the establishment of Otagakure, although the village will generate some income in the later stages, it is clear that in the initial stage it requires a lot of investment. He needs money. And the Uchiha happen to be wealthy. As for the price to pay, with Orochimaru's abilities, isn't it easy to deceive a few small ninja clans kunoichis? Moreover, he can offer the ninjutsu that the ninjas need the most as compensation. This is a win-win situation. He had thought about this before and wanted to accept the mission of bearing children for the rebirth of the Uchiha clan. The drawback was that it could only be done by Konoha ninjas. In addition, the construction of Otagakure also requires manpower, so he temporarily put it aside. However, now that Natsuo has come, we can make this deal. Natsuo pondered for a moment. The Jonin Orochimaru provided is probably the weakest kind of Jonin from a small country. It is a disgrace to be a Jonin in terms of ninjutsu, genjutsu, and taijutsu. But they are still Jonin. Although the Uchiha clan has spent a lot of money, there are still very few Jonin-level female ninja who have accepted the mission. We can discuss the details. Natsuo was tempted. 3 hours later, Natsuo left Orochimaru's underground base with Ayako and 2 special Jonin. The 2 females' special Jonin were the goods for this transaction. After looking at them, it seemed that the 2 of them did not resist the fate of being married to him. One of them couldn't help but steal glances at Natsuo's handsome face, with a hint of joy in her eyes. After all, Natsuo is a true tall, rich, and handsome man. With a prestigious reputation, abundant wealth, strength equal to Orochimaru's, and this sunny and handsome face. How could kunoichis not be moved? The group headed towards Konoha, but compared to Ayako's hurried escape before, it now felt more like a leisurely outing, with no rush and occasional stops to admire the scenery along the way. Natsuo was not in a hurry to return to the village. The wooden clone he left there could temporarily take care of most things. At the same time, he also contacted a ninja cat to let the wood clone prepare things in the village. After all, except for Ayako, who was originally a spy who had infiltrated Konoha, the remaining 2 did not have a Konoha ID. All of this required the wood clone to make proper preparations in the village before they could return. The group enjoyed their journey, exploring mountains and rivers. When passing through the border between 2 countries, they suddenly discovered that both Kusagakure and Takigakure were at war. Natsuo took the opportunity to observe for a while. During the last Great Ninja War, he hadn't even graduated from the ninja school yet. He found war to be quite intriguing. The female ninjas, on the other hand, were much less curious than Natsuo. The small ninja clans had experienced too much hardship and displacement. That's why they were so delighted to marry into the Uchiha clan and become stable and wealthy housewives. However, whether it was Natsuo or the female ninjas who had become part of the family in the past few days, they didn't feel surprised by the sudden outbreak of war between the 2 countries. The ninja village system has only been around for a little over 60 years, and there have already been 3 great ninja wars. Roughly 1 war every 20 years. And that's only the large-scale wars involving the 5 major ninja villages. The small-scale wars in the small ninja villages are too numerous to count. However, as they continued to watch, Natsuo suddenly frowned. It seems that something is not right. The injured Kusagakure ninjas are recovering so quickly. Could it be? His eyes instantly lit up. Chapter 40, You guys are so noisy. Although he had experienced fewer wars, Natsuo was still a cage-level expert. The Sharingan brought him much stronger visual perception than ordinary people. In his opinion, although the number of people on both sides was similar and their strength was comparable, Kyuzaigakure was not a match for the Takigakure at all. Although both were small ninja villages, Takigakure has a Jinchuriki. Takigakure was once arrogant, second only to the 5 great ninja villages, and was known as the 6th great ninja village. Otherwise, the first Hokage would not have given a tailed beast to Takigakure. Although Takigakure was only arrogant for a while and then declined, they wouldn't lose to Kyuzaigakure. The result was completely opposite to his judgment. Kyuzaigakure was actually chasing after Takigakure. After careful observation, Natsuo finally discovered the problem. His judgment was actually correct. There were more injured ninjas from Kyuzaigakure than Takigakure. But miraculously, those injured Kyuzaigakure ninjas would soon return to the battlefield unharmed, gradually gaining the upper hand for the Kyuzaigakure. This almost exaggerated medical effect, if his memory served him right, should be Kyuzaigakure Field Hospital. The medical ninjas of Kyuzaigakure were busy at work. Damn, another injured person. After giving him an 4, send him in. Come and bandage him up, and then. There's no need for so much trouble, just send him in. You fool, do you really think that woman's chakra is infinite? This war will continue for a while, we can't let her waste chakra unnecessarily. What's the harm in wasting it? After all, she's just a disposable asset of our Kyuzaigakure, and doesn't she have a daughter? Although there were many medical ninjas wearing white coats here, if you looked closely, their treatment procedures were very uniform. First, they would provide general treatment, such as bandaging and administering IVs, and perform emergency procedures. Then they would use a cart to transport the injured person into a room. In that room was a woman with red hair. The woman appeared to be around 30 years old, with a somewhat handsome appearance and a good figure, but her face was pale. Her red hair, which should have been fiery, was now somewhat dim. An injured person was brought in, and the accompanying medical ninja said, "All right, it's time for you to do your part." The words were so cold and didn't sound like something you would say to a person. But the woman just glanced at it with a somewhat lifeless gaze and raised an arm covered in bite marks. The medical ninja roughly grabbed the woman's arm and pulled it towards the injured person's mouth. The injured person also opened his mouth without hesitation, ready to bite down. And at this moment, the Uzumaki clan, able to heal others by biting her and absorbing their chakra? You guys are using her as a power bank? Truly a wasted treasure. A light sigh came. The first one to react and make a defensive move was surprisingly the weak Uzumaki clan woman. The medical ninja and the injured person, on the other hand, were stunned for a moment before suddenly waking up and looking at the man who appeared beside them, not knowing when. Who are you? This is the territory of Kyuzaigakure. Could it be a surprise attack from the Konohagakure? The Kyuzaigakure ninja said a series of things in a row. But Natsuo, as if he had heard something scandalous, made a contemptuous gesture. He then reached out and grabbed the Uzumaki woman's arm and looked in shock at the large number of bite marks. With the incredible stamina and vitality of the Uzumaki clan, to still have injuries of this degree. It must be the result of old wounds not healing and new ones appearing. Truly. What a waste. Natsuo sighed softly. In the original plot, this kind of ability made Karin play an important role even in the final battle. Also, how many life and death crises has Uchiha survived by relying on this ability? And yet, in Kyuzaigakure, it's used like that. Natsuo shook his head repeatedly. This ability to rapidly heal others is comparable to Tsunade at this time and the future Harem Sakura. Even without considering the Uzumaki clan's other powerful abilities such as the adamantine sealing chains and the Kagura Mind's Eye, just considering this healing effect, it should not be used on ordinary ninjas like this. Its true application should be specifically for serving certain high-level experts to ensure they can complete more important missions. Kyuzagakuer, truly squandering a treasure. What is your name, member of the Uzumaki clan? Natsuo asked. The Uzumaki woman opened her mouth but did not speak. At this moment, the Kyuzagakuer ninjas next to him, although they could not understand everything he said, did understand the phrase Urjuza survived by relying on this ability. The medical ninja's expression changed drastically. Are you perhaps a survivor of the Uzumaki clan? Is the Uzumaki clan here to save her? If Urjuza also knows someone who can use this ability, then they must also know other members of the Uzumaki clan. Someone is trying to take away our blood bag. He shouted loudly, his voice piercing like a woman's. The injured people beside him also gritted their teeth and shouted that they wanted to join the fight. However, you're all so noisy, Natsuo said softly, forming hand seals. Fire release, Great Fire Annihilation. A powerful flame surged out, engulfing the medical ninja and the injured people in an instant. Then, it continued to spread outward, burning fiercely and turning into a sea of flames. The sea of flames extended, covering several miles in all directions. The entire battlefield hospital of Kyuzagakuer was engulfed in flames. Cries of agony filled the surroundings, countless flaming figures struggling and rolling. Although the noise was loud, the atmosphere was strangely quiet. The Uzumaki woman stood there in a daze, subconsciously looking around, her field of vision filled with crimson. What is your name, member of the Uzumaki clan? Natsuo asked again. Yoko. My name is Uzumaki Yoko. Uzumaki Yoko opened her mouth and finally spoke. Natsuo smiled, a smile that was obscured by the flames, but still carried a hint of gentleness. Yoko, would you like to come with me? Although I can't say that you won't have to pay any price, I should be able to give you a stable home. Chapter 41, Uzumaki Karin. Yoko stood there in a daze, her eyes glancing at the sea of fire around her, finally letting out a bitter smile. Do I have any other choice? As a survivor of the Uzumaki clan, she already found herself in an awkward position in Kyuzagakuer, constantly being the target of suspicion by the shinobi of Kyuzagakuer. Now that everyone in the field hospital was dead, she was the only one left. She would be directly labeled by the shinobi of Kyuzagakuer as a traitor, and who knows what they would do to her. However, my daughter is still in camp of Kyuzagakuer, not far from here. Can I take my daughter with us? Uzumaki Yoko pleaded, her eyes fixed on Natsuo. If you don't take my daughter with us, there's no point in me staying alive. If she couldn't take her daughter Karin with her, she might as well die here and save herself from the suspicion by the shinobi of Kyuzagakuer. For her daughter, she was not afraid of death. Natsuo smiled slightly and said, I understand. Uzumaki Yoko looked anxious. For most people, although Kyuzagakuer was not as powerful as the 5 great shinobi countries, it was still considered a powerful ninja village. Could this unknown man, although impressive in his actions, really save her daughter from the camp of Kyuzagakuer? And even if he did save her daughter, what would this man ask of them? Would it be more excessive than shinobis of Kyuzagakuer? Uzumaki Yoko didn't know, but she had no choice. Unless she was willing to end her own life here and let Karin, at such a young age, be used by the shinobi of Kyuzagakuer and go through the torment she was currently experiencing, she would always struggle to survive. Karin was located in the camp behind the field hospital. It was clear that the shinobi of Kyuzagakuer regarded Uzumaki Yoko as nothing more than a disposable item, otherwise they wouldn't need to bring Karin, who was young and had no combat power, to the battlefield. In other words, they were waiting for Yoko's death so that Karin could take her place. This was also the reason why Uzumaki Yoko, who realized that the situation was hopeless, immediately accepted Natsuo's invitation. However, what surprised Uzumaki Yoko was that when Natsuo saw the camp of Kyuzagakuer, he walked over confidently. This Uzumaki Yoko opened her mouth, shrunk her neck, and her worried expression deepened. She hid herself and stayed far away. Once Natsuo failed, she would immediately run back to the field hospital and burn herself to death. Although it would result in Karin being used in her place, at least she could stay alive. This was the only thing she could do for Karin at the moment. Natsuo walked confidently, and when he reached the entrance of the camp, 2 shinobis came towards him. "Hey kid, who are you?" Swish! A gleaming blade flashed. Natsuo held a kunai and stabbed it straight at them. His movements were fluid and casual. It wasn't until the kunai pierced the chest of one of the shinobis that the other person exclaimed. "Who are you? How dare you hurt a shinobi from Kusagakuer?" Natsuo sighed lightly, "No, I didn't hurt a shinobi from Kusagakuer. I'm killing them." In the next second, he slashed the kunai upwards. The chest was split open, and blood gushed out from the heart and lungs. The nearby shinobis were stunned and quickly shouted, "Alert! We're under attack!" Under the hoarse shout, the camp, which was already on high alert, quickly reacted. Countless shinobis poured out from the main gate. "Who is it? Is it an attack from Takigakuer? Kill him! Just him? Impossible! There must be others. Be careful, everyone!" A series of loud roars sounded. Meanwhile, Natsuo casually strolled around the camp as if it were empty. He held a kunai in one hand, his steps light and graceful, like a gentle dance. In his pupils, the 3 tomo of the Sharingan rotated slowly. His movements were neither hurried nor slow, yet he could accurately slice open the throats of every enemy. Wherever he went, people fell to the ground. No wonder the dance king Uchiha Madara always said, "Do you want to dance too?" With such an absolute difference in strength and the ability to see through all enemy attacks with the Sharingan, isn't it like dancing on a dance floor? The enemy is practically cooperating like dance partners, sending their vital points straight to my kunai. The terrifying aspect of the Sharingan is just that simple. After seeing through everything about the enemy, it can achieve this casually described yet highly effective result. It doesn't even require much physical stamina. Natsuo sighed in his heart, but his movements didn't slow down. Like cutting butter with a hot knife, he forcefully opened a large gap within the Kusagakuer camp's defenses and continued to penetrate deeper. The shinobi of Kusagakuer shouted in panic. "Damn it! Who are you? These eyes! Could you be Uchiha Itachi, the rogue ninja of Konoha?" Well, among the only 2 adults in the Uchiha clan, Natsuo is known for having a harem, while Itachi is known for wiping out the clan. Obviously, such formidable combat power should belong to that man named Uchiha Itachi. No problem. Natsuo nodded in his heart, then sent a kunai to send that idiot who was randomly guessing to meet the Sage of 6 Paths. He continued to walk straight towards the back of the camp. Although he was not very good as a sensory ninja, Uzumaki Yoko had already informed him of the approximate location. Simple and straightforward, just kill them all. In fact, before Natsuo had killed his way there, the shinobis of Kusagakuer were on the verge of collapse. This kind of massacre done so casually is much more terrifying than a frantic assault. Because no matter how many people from their side rushed over, they would all be easily devoured by the killing intent of Natsuo. It's as if it can never be filled. And at this moment, a middle-aged man with a square face stepped forward. The shinobis of Kusagakuer seemed to see hope, gritted their teeth, gathered their courage, and finally didn't completely flee. The middle-aged man looked at the shinobis who died in battle around him and stared fiercely at Natsuo with his bloodshot eyes. "You have such strength at such a young age, indeed extraordinary." In the voice of the square-faced man, there seemed to be a hidden storm. He slowly tightened his grip on the kunai and assumed a battle posture. "I don't care if you're Uchiha Itachi or whoever. Since you dare to attack my Kusagakuer, I won't let you leave. Today, I will avenge my fallen comrades, for the sacrifices of my comrades, for... Pfft. Before he could finish speaking, Natsuo's figure had already appeared in front of him. He directly hit the middle-aged man's forehead, crushing his head. And like a burst watermelon, he splashed red and white all over the ground. So weak, yet so many words. Natsuo was quite puzzled, completely unable to understand why this guy didn't prepare properly and had so many meaningless words. He couldn't be bothered with such a foolish person and directly pierced through the Kyuzagakuru's camp. The camp of Kyuzagakure completely collapsed. Until Natsuo reached Karin's side, he didn't even know that the trash he casually killed was actually the leader of Kyuzagakure. He just looked at the somewhat shy girl and smiled. Found you. Uzumaki Karin. Chapter 42, I only want her bloodline. Kyuzagakure didn't really value Karin. The desperate shinobi of Kyuzagakure didn't even think about taking her. So, Natsuo didn't have to make any effort and quickly found the main character. It was a timid little loli. Her short red hair just touching her shoulders, her round little face, and wearing black framed glasses, she looked like an easy target to bully. Karin shrank into a corner, trembling all over. Especially when she heard the sound of Natsuo pushing open the door, her whole body trembled even more, extremely afraid. It was impossible to think that in the future, according to the original plot, she would have the fierce impulse to attack the 10 tails. Your mother is waiting for you, come with me. Natsuo revealed a gentle smile. According to the original plot, in the future she would most likely be the strongest woman in the Uzumaki clan. Using the adamantine sealing chains, she was able to seal a tailed beast single-handedly, in addition to possessing maximum cage-level combat power. Well, to put it more bluntly, Natsuo was lusting after her bloodline. The only problem was that Karin was only 1 month older than Sasuke. But it wasn't a big problem. Cage-level kunoichi were so rare that Natsuo had even considered laying the groundwork with little Sakura from now on, but then he thought that if he did that and with Urshiza's character, he probably wouldn't marry anyone. So, he abandoned this idea, plus Sakura didn't possess any bloodline. However, Karin had a clear path for future development and had one of the most complete bloodlines in the Uzumaki clan. With these conditions he could afford to wait and cultivate his wife himself. This is a win-win situation. Come with me. Natsuo smiled and extended his hand towards her, then touched her hair. It was unclear whether it was because of her young age or because she had been well protected by her mother. Karin's hair was very smooth and shiny, in stark contrast to her mother's dull and yellowish hair color. Perhaps she sensed Natsuo's goodwill. Karin hesitated for a moment but ultimately reached out her hand and tightly held Natsuo's hand. He pulled Karin along, walking out of the room as if taking a stroll. There were still some mangled corpses of the Kyuzagakure shinobi on the road, with flesh and blood scattered everywhere. From time to time, they would encounter a brainless Kyuzagakure shinobi who would attack them, and Natsuo dealt with them easily. Karin blinked her eyes showing no trace of fear, but rather a hint of satisfaction. Kyuzagakure was extremely xenophobic and filled with a strange sense of superiority. Countless shinobi of Kyuzagakure would treat the mother and daughter with disdain every day, insulting them as parasites of Kyuzagakure and saying that it was their honor to sacrifice their lives for Kyuzagakure. Although Karin was imprisoned for most of the day, she could still hear the arrogant voices unique to Kyuzagakure all the time. As if dying for Kyuzagakure was an honor for them. And now, those arrogant shinobis of Kyuzagakure were like trash, casually killed by Natsuo and thrown aside, not even worth a glance. Karin trembled all over, but it wasn't out of fear, but excitement. Her legs tightened, her breathing became heavy, and her body involuntarily leaned towards Natsuo. When the two of them walked out of the Kyuzagakure camp, Karin practically pressed her whole body against Natsuo, her mouth emitting heavy breaths, and her expression was the classic expression of a nympho. Natsuo. In my past life, many people thought Karin was a pervert. Now I can tell you, this is true. Such a young child, actually able to make such an expression, even he was a bit uncomfortable. But this seems convenient for my future operations, I'll just pretend this is normal. Natsuo shrugged with indifference in his heart. He brought Karin to find Uzumaki Yoko. The two, mother and daughter, hugged tightly, as if they would be permanently separated if they let go for a second. Mother, woo. It's okay, Karin, Mom will be with you from now on. The mother and daughter cried and then laughed, the tears already beginning to wet the ground. Natsuo shook his head, ignoring the reunion of the mother and daughter, turned his head and used a few fire-release jutsus to burn the Kyuzagakure camp clean. Before, he didn't use large-scale ninjutsu because he was worried about accidentally injuring Karin. Now that there is no need to worry, he naturally has to clean up this rubbish. If you ask which ninja village in the ninja world is one of the most disgusting, they would probably all give the same answer, Kyuzagakure. After he leisurely returned, it seemed that the mother and daughter had finished crying. Uzumaki Yoko wiped away her tears and said, Lord Natsuo, let's leave here quickly. I heard that the leader of the Kyuzagakure is nearby. I don't know when he will return. Although Lord Natsuo, you're not afraid of him, there's no need to provoke trouble. Just in case, let's leave first. That's the leader of Kyuzagakure, the strongest man in the Kyuzagakure. Even if Uzumaki Yoko saw Natsuo single-handedly take on a camp, she still had some worries. But Natsuo shook his head and said, both of you are not in good physical condition, so let's walk slowly. But if someone catches up with us... Yoko's face was full of worry as she spoke. Natsuo remained calm and said, it doesn't matter, I will take action. Upon hearing this, Karin's eyes lit up. Good. So cool. But the leader of Kyuzagakure? If my perception is correct, isn't he the guy who blabbered on and then was instantly defeated by you? When Lord Natsuo took me out of the camp, I even saw his corpse. Karin lowered her head slightly, tightly hugging Natsuo's arm, her face pressed against his arm, gently sniffing his scent. Her face was filled with sweetness, or should I say obsession. Chapter 43, Madam, you are wrong. So, you're Uchiha Natsuo? The one known as the shame of the Uchiha? The one who paid a considerable sum of money to have a child? Uzumaki Yoko covered her mouth, looking surprised. It could be seen that Natsuo's reputation had already spread from the fire country to the grass country, and even Uzumaki Yoko, who was in a semi-house arrest state, had heard of it. Mom, what does paying a considerable sum of money to have a child mean? Asked little Karin curiously. Uzumaki Yoko felt a bit embarrassed and pulled Karin closer. It's something adults do, you don't need to know. Karin humphed. The several wives sent over by Orochimaru beside them also covered their mouths and giggled. They had also heard of Natsuo's reputation, but even if they were a bit slow, they knew that a man who could have an equal conversation with Orochimaru-sama couldn't possibly be the so-called shame of the Uchiha clan. Leaving that aside, just based on the achievements of annihilating the Kyuzagakure's stronghold earlier, even the elites of the 5 great shinobi countries might not be able to accomplish it. But Natsuo had done it so casually. So, what do you want me to do? Uzumaki Yoko took a deep breath. Whether Natsuo was the shame of the Uchiha or the glory of the Uchiha had nothing to do with her. She just wanted to know what Natsuo wanted them to do. If it was something extremely dangerous, it might be better to stay in Kyuzagakure. Natsuo calmly said, to strengthen the Uchiha, I am continuously taking wives in order to have children with sufficient strength. So, I need the bloodline of powerful female ninjas. Of course, the rewards are generous, my wives will be treated as noble ladies, and the rewards will be plentiful. I don't need you to participate in battles, nor do I need you to undertake any dangerous missions. As long as you don't betray the Uchiha clan, no one can harm you. All you need to do is take care of your health, obediently give birth to children, and take good care of them. Other than that, you don't need to worry about anything. These words were not only addressed to the mother and daughter of the Uzumaki clan, but also to the several female ninjas sent by Orochimaru. Natsuo didn't need kunoichi to fight for the Uchiha clan, because no matter how strong a kunoichi was, she couldn't match him. At the same time, he didn't need the female ninjas to do any work, because all the work could be done by hiring other employees, and dangerous tasks could be entrusted to Akatsuki. As long as they were willing to have children, then, no problem would be a problem. Yes. The several women solemnly replied in unison. Even Uzumaki Yoko was no exception. Having experienced countless hardships, she knew too well the preciousness of a stable and peaceful environment. Because the mother and daughter of the Uzumaki clan joined midway, Natsuo had to send another message to his clone in the village, asking him to create 2 more identities. And Natsuo himself bought a large amount of hair dye for the mother and daughter of the Uzumaki clan. The red hair of the Uzumaki clan was quite rare, and he didn't know if in Konoha he could find a third red-haired person. It was too easy to be recognized. The Uchiha clan itself is prone to taboos, and if they gather with the Uzumaki clan, the best candidates for Jinchuriki, it's hard to say that the third Hokage and others won't have any ulterior motives. Natsuo is not afraid, but there's no need to waste energy on a few old men. Wouldn't it be better to waste it on beautiful girls? Anyway, dyeing hair is not difficult. After a few days of sightseeing and buying some clothes for a few women, Natsuo took them to the Uchiha clan residence after eating their favorite pork cutlet rice and buying some toys like windmills for Karin. Although he possessed the strength of a cage level, Natsuo still struggled for a while before he finished settling everyone into the Uchiha clan residence. By the way, these women are not ninjas. Although Konoha village does not prohibit outsiders from entering, unfamiliar ninjas are still too conspicuous. Including the mother and daughter of the Uzumaki clan, everyone entered Konoha as civilians, and then Natsuo directly created a chance encounter, using a drunken post-drinking brawl as an excuse, and reluctantly brought the women home. Upon learning of this, the people of Konoha all expressed their admiration. The young master of the Uchiha clan is really a playboy. How envious! Oh, no, this is a loss of morality. Natsuo has become the lifelong enemy of Konoha shinobi. But the women defended him one after another. Lord Natsuo is a responsible man. Look, even for accidents that happen after drinking, he is willing to take responsibility. Unlike you bunch of useless men. And then they subtly hinted. Lord Natsuo, please bring me along next time you drink. I have a low alcohol tolerance and won't know anything when I'm drunk. But Natsuo ignored them. During the past few days when he was away from home, his real body was absent, and his clones refused the enthusiastic invitations of his wives with excuses like not feeling well today or feeling tired. The wood clone's ability was quite good, except for Kakuzu, who knew the truth. Many other women truly believed that Natsuo was not feeling well that day. After all, Natsuo had indeed been very busy before, so it was normal for him to want to rest for a while. But if he continued to rest like this, even with this drunken brawl, the women would think that Natsuo had been overworked and his body was completely exhausted. Can this work? Which man can tolerate this kind of humiliation? Of course, Natsuo had to fight back and kill them all to prove his strength. So it began with a touch, a smile, a shared moment. Rhythmically they took steps, pulsating movements. Intertwined fingers, bodies moving in time. Hearts beating with their internal rhyme in every breath, every step, every heartbeat. With each twist and turn they felt complete, succumbing to the hypnotic trance. Lovers lost in the eternal dance of life. So, there was a continuous dance that lasted for several days. If it weren't for the Sharingan's technique Ama no Uzume, even as a cage-level expert, he wouldn't have been able to hold on. Finally, he had a day off today and could chat with his future wife, Karin, and play games. When he was preparing to give himself a chance to rest at night, a graceful figure slipped into Natsuo's room. Lord Natsuo, I've come to fulfill our agreement. Uzumaki Yoko blushed and spoke softly, the bloodline of Uzumaki and Uchiha. I will do my best. She gently took off her clothes and got in. Natsuo. What should he say at this time? Madam, I am actually wishing for your daughter's bloodline, did you misunderstand something? Chapter 44, Are you going to let people sleep? Natsuo really didn't intend to have anything with Yoko. After all, he had always been targeting Karin, a girl with cage-level potential, whose strength was not inferior to that of one of the main female characters, Sakura. She could be considered one of the most talented supporting characters in the Naruto series. Considering the Uzumaki clan's bloodline bonus, she was even more meaningful to Natsuo than the main female character, Sakura. But upon feeling that soft body, he no longer had the strength to say, Madam, actually my goal is your daughter's bloodline. And the first time Natsuo saw Uzumaki Yoko, she was completely different. Originally, she was thin, with dry and yellow hair, lifeless eyes, and only became slightly more active when she saw her daughter. Her body was covered in bite marks. But now, after several days of recuperation, her body became well proportioned, her hair showed a hint of black, and her eyes carried a mix of shyness and determination. The vitality of the Uzumaki clan was simply astonishing. Just with normal rest and eating sufficient and nutritious food, she quickly showed signs of recovery. The marks on her body also faded a lot. Although they couldn't be completely eliminated for now, with sporadic embellishments, they actually looked more interesting. Uzumaki Yoko seemed to notice Natsuo's gaze on her scars. Yoko's eyes dimmed, revealing a trace of inferiority. But she took the initiative to get closer and then crawled into the blanket. She was in the most exquisite anguish astride Natsuo at that moment, sweating and feeling an impetuous volcanic tension at its peak within her. Wanting to explode her sweetest self on him. She was in heaven and hell at the same time. And when he finished, she lay on the bed, breathless, waiting to regain feeling in her legs. Another person who couldn't sleep well was Kurane. Damn Natsuo, he really has the energy. Kurane cursed angrily, addicted to women, it seems like he doesn't have a future. Kurane was very angry. She had been in the Uchiha clan for a while now, so naturally she knew about Natsuo's lifestyle. But now it's a different situation than before. During the day, when Sasuke was leaping and running on the walls, he accidentally stomped a hole in her house, which was currently under repair. Although the Uchiha clan had other vacant rooms, Yukino felt apologetic and voluntarily suggested sharing a room with Kurane. Since they were all women, Kurane agreed. However, as the default main wife, Yukino's room naturally was very close to Natsuo's room. The result was, Damn Natsuo, we agreed to rest today. Kurane was extremely embarrassed and angry. As a sensor-type Jainin, her perception ability was exceptionally high, and her hearing was quite good. But sometimes, she really didn't want this level of perception. Are you going to let people sleep or not? The next day, Natsuo woke up refreshed. The only problem was that Kurane's eyes seemed red, as if she hadn't slept well. But that was a minor issue, and Natsuo ignored Kurane. Karin seemed even more active than before. Although she also hadn't slept all night, the physique of the Uzumaki clan allowed her to remain energetic. She behaved fully like a girl her age, acting cute, trying to give him a girl with glasses asking Natsuo for delicious and fun things. She wanted piggyback rides, she wanted hugs. Although Uzumaki Yoko looked helpless, Natsuo wouldn't refuse. As one of Natsuo's most talented potential wives at the moment, it was only natural to build a good relationship with Karin. Natsuo carefully asked Yoko at night, and Yoko calmly stated that she only had the ability of physical healing. As for the techniques that Karin had shown, such as adamantine sealing chains and Kagura Mind's Eye, she knew the training steps and remembered the content of the techniques, but she hadn't learned any of them. Thinking about it, it's understandable. If she learned them all, she would be a cage-level powerhouse, and she wouldn't be treated as a blood bag by those trash ninjas from Kyuzagakuer. Karin's talent was much stronger than Yoko's. I still have to continue working hard. Natsuo encouraged himself. My current small goal is to get Uzumaki Yoko and the few kunoichi sent by Orochimaru pregnant. Chapter 45, The potential of newborns is getting stronger. Anko is truly a ninja genius, although in the original work she developed very late because she was once Orochimaru's disciple and was restricted in Konoha. But now that she has fully unleashed her talent with the support of the Uchiha clan, she actually began to display additional talents, such as those of a sensor-type ninja. Although Natsuo tried to hide it, but he still actually discovered the identity of the kunoichi under Orochimaru. Did she smell the snake scent on these women? She almost attacked them on the spot, wanting to vent her anger on this group of people. In the end, Natsuo managed to suppress her in time and persuaded her, saying that the Uchiha clan accepts all, regardless of spies. Even if they are truly Orochimaru's people, he can use his heart to influence them and make them our allies. He also added some words like maybe these female ninjas can help you deal with Orochimaru in the future. Seeing in her expression that she still wanted to continue with the topic, I had to convince her with more forceful means. I pushed her against the door in a passionate hug. She was wearing a white dress shirt with a black tactical vest. The primitive musky smell began to permeate the room. I grabbed her waist, while she pulled hard on a lock of my black hair. A woman now, releasing her innocence. Her balmy breath, variegated with mine. I slide around her neck, kissing her spine. Starting at her top, I kiss front, back, her voice purely moaned. The atmosphere intensified. It's just that we got lost, while we looked into each other's eyes. While the firmament split in two and the earth trembled, the sheet was dragged down. We fought only for air while our bodies were covered in sweat. Her nails cling to my body. It was a night we will not forget, one in which he barely managed to suppress Anko's doubts about Orochimaru's spies. In the following period of time, Natsuo worked tirelessly and devoted all his energy to the revival of the Uchiha clan. Finally, 2 months later, Anko was the first to get pregnant. Then, several genin sent by Orochimaru also gradually became pregnant. Natsuo was greatly relieved by this. Not only that, but several children were also born during this period. Offspring +1, the comprehensive potential evaluation is 59, you gain chakra +3, wind release, vacuum sphere. Offspring +1, the comprehensive potential evaluation is 48, you gain mental power +2, fire release, fire dragon flame bullet. Offspring +1, the comprehensive potential evaluation is 61, you gain mental power +4. Natsuo was very happy to discover that. Although the children born in this batch were relatively average and none of them had exceptional talents with an evaluation over 100, making Uzuki Ijao's child still the most talented among the current Uchiha babies. But overall, the physical condition of this batch of babies seemed much better, and their potential was much improved compared to before. This was not simply because the conditions of the women giving birth were better and their talents were superior. For, in addition to the newly accepted wives, the talents of the sons born of several wives who had been previously accepted, had also improved in comparison with those of the sons they had previously born. So, this was not the influence of the wives, this was brought about by Natsuo. In the ninja world, bloodline inheritance is a source of power. The quality of children largely depends on the abilities of both parents. For example, the Uzumaki clan naturally has more chakra than others, and the Uchiha clan naturally has stronger mental power than others. While the level of the wives remained relatively stable, the potential of the children increased. Because I am stronger than before, Natsuo thought to himself. Compared to the ordinary Chunin he was when he first impregnated Yukino, Natsuo's strength was now 10 times stronger. Not only does he have more chakra and stronger mental power, but he has also had a rapid increase in physical strength. With the improvement in the conditions on the father's side, the potential of the children naturally increased. However, Natsuo's growth in strength was only achieved in his body, and aside from having the knowledge instilled in his mind of the various jutsus received in system rewards, his combat experience is only found at his original Chunin level. After all, most of his time was devoted to the revival of the Uchiha clan, and he could not spend much energy on rigorous training and gaining combat experience. He used the time, which ordinary ninjas spent fighting, to revive the Uchiha clan. Therefore, Natsuo's strength would constantly increase at a rapid rate according to the speed at which his children are born, but he could not experience sudden jumps in his combat power through his own learning and other means, such as Naruto and Sasuke in the original work. Therefore, if he really wanted to further enhance the potential of his unborn children, he had to start with his wives. Without hesitation, Natsuo increased his courses on medical ninjutsu. In the ninja world, bloodline inheritance is powerful, and if he wanted to strengthen his wives, allowing the children to naturally inherit more talents, he had to approach it from the perspective of biology and genetic engineering. Medical ninjutsu was the most extensive and suitable way for this kind of knowledge. It just so happens that I have Hashirama's cells and Jago's cells in my hands. It would be a waste not to use them. A gleam of light flickered in Natsuo's eyes. In order to learn quickly, maybe I should also show some real skills.
Thanks for listening.